Welcome everyone to Comics from the Multiverse, episode 475. I am Peter, and joining me, as always, is Matt.
Hey, what's going on?
This is the DC Comics podcast. We get together and we talk about the books we read this week. Coming up on today's show, we have Absolute Flash issue 7, Nightwing 130, the Justice League Red issue 2, Batman Superman World's Finest 43, Batman and Robin Year 1 issue 11, The New Gods issue 10, and the Batman Second Night issue 1. Plus, we got a Patreon book of Green Arrow issue 19, which we'll both be talking about. So that's what's coming up on the show today. So yes, welcome everyone. We are here. You're probably thinking, wasn't there a Deadpool Batman issue out this week? Now, I actually didn't bring it up last week at the end of the show because I always just filter DC books, and technically that book is a Marvel book, because Marvel are publishing that one, and then DC are publishing the other one. So we added it to the list, and then just as Wednesday was hitting, Connor happened to mention to me that it's a physical store exclusive. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I checked Amazon's Kindle store and went, oh yeah, it's just not here. There's no listing for it even when I looked. So yeah, and since I read all my books digitally, and I don't think Matt was rushing out to get a physical copy of it either, so...
Batman and Deadpool, are you kidding me?
Someone can let us know when it's digitally available, and then maybe we'll do it. But if they're keeping these physical exclusive, then it's just kind of taking us off the board, honestly.
Yeah, I mean that'll probably. I would go in and get the Morrison one, right? Morrison's doing, which one is it? The Batman?
Yeah, it's the flip of this one. It's just Batman Deadpool.
Yeah. I didn't remember if there was a subtitle to it or not, but yeah, I might pick that one up considering it's Morrison, right? But yeah, tough go. Hopefully they do make it digital, because I don't need more stuff.
I mean, I just mean we won't be covering it until they're available digitally. Is what I'm getting at. So, hey, no biggie, but that is a thing to be aware of. Is that it did come out this week, and those of you who do get your books physically probably picked it up if you're interested in it, which, to be fair, I'm not that upset because I'm not that excited about this whole crossover thing.
This was the Wells one, right?
This is the Zeb Wells one, yeah.
Yeah. So, but
Are you not excited by Zeb Wells, Matt?
No, I would be for like a Morrison, an Aaron, like someone that's worked at both companies, right? That's what you would kind of want, But yeah.
Also, I want everyone to know that just before we started, Matt was saying that he took an old poster of Lois and Clark off the wall because Dean Cain's on it, and he wants to be rid of him for reasons which you can figure out yourself. But I jokingly said, we'll get that one that's just Terry Hatcher then in the Superman cape. And Matt, of course, whipped it out. Like, he whipped out the photo.
With the picture.
He already has that framed photograph, signed no less. So, and also, I hit the record button so I can cut to a shot of him showing me his photograph right now on the video version, just for proof. But I just wanted to tell everyone that he already had that. Of course he did, the sick pervert that he is. So... Welcome, everyone.
I'm not gonna not have Terry Hatcher in the cape. Like, come on now. Childhood crush there.
It's just so funny that I said that, and you're like, oh, hold on a second, it's right here.
Yeah. And that was a gift from my good friend Graham. So, I gotta had to let Pete know. We did bond over a love of Terry Hatcher, of her Lois, right? So.
Oh yeah. So yeah. I mean, we got stuff. We got Solicits this week as well. I didn't mention that yet, but we got December Solicits to look at, so that's the thing we'll be doing. And then otherwise, whatever. I was noticing though, as I was putting this list together this week, that a lot of things that were out this week last month aren't here, right? And they're all next week. I just checked. They're all next week. There was like 3 books that were this week last month but aren't this week. And it's not that next week is like super stacked. It's still a pretty normal size week. I don't know what was going on last month that week 3 was just like super stuffed with books, because Detective was also this week. So was Superman Unlimited. Although it is a bit weird next week now, because now we have both Absolute Wonder Woman, and we have both Superman and Unlimited Superman. So we have like a really weird like this week has no super books really, unless you count World's Finest. But there's like no Superman. But it's all Bat books. But next week's all Superman and Wonder Woman. It's just really unbalanced. But it's not a big deal. But it's just kind of funny. That said, though, weird. Matt, I have one thing to say to you.
What's that?
Happy Batman Day!
You know what? I shouldn't be surprised, yet here I am. I'm more surprised about the button.
What button are we talking about? For the audio listeners, what are you talking about?
Oh yeah, no. So Pete just said Happy Batman Day, and it's like he pushed a button, and now over our logo, there's a Batman Art Deco font in black and yellow. Didn't do this. I want to point out, didn't do this for Summer of Superman. There's no special logo for Summer of Superman.
Okay, first of all, it's just a font, right? I just used the text tool in OBS because I thought of this last minute, right? To piss off Matt, I thought I'll have a Batman Day banner, and I didn't put it in Photoshop or anything. It's literally just a font in OBS, right? And I'm going to take it away because it's ugly over the top of our logo.
If you want to jump scare me just at random times, you'll hit it.
Look, don't you think that if I had time, I wouldn't have went in and made like a custom color scheme for the entire overlay so that the whole thing would have changed? And before you start complaining, we didn't do that for Superman. Our regular color scheme is Superman, right? The entire show's identity is Superman.
Blue and red are the best color combinations you can get. It's just a fact.
But you can't say, you didn't do a special color scheme. Because our base color scheme's always Superman. What are you talking about? I mean, I could add a dash of yellow, I suppose, just to make it the full set.
You know what? Had you put in a little bit of that extra time to make a Batman colorway, I'd have been like, you know what? Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Maybe next year. Next year I'll remember. I'll do a full Batman color scheme for the video overlay.
And maybe that's why they delayed the Wonder Woman and Superman books from this week.
Oh, it's Batman's week? That's what you think?
Yeah. I mean, they should have put Detective out. Maybe there's a delay, but
Detective is out next week. Yeah.
A lot of Batman, and you know what? I can't even be salty because they're really good Batman books.
Oh, sure.
This week,
sure. So
I can't even be fake upset. But yeah, yay, Batman Day! Go hug your parents because he can't.
Except unless you have already lost your parents, in which case Matt's just upset you.
No, well, I'm part of that club myself, so you don't see me dressed like a bat and punching people. Granted, there were life choices. Thomas and Martha, right, were not. It was one bad decision. So here we go.
All right. Well, to get into things from that weird segue, how was your week, Matt? Before we get into things,
incredibly depressing. Because there's a budget shortfall with where I work, and the federal government's no longer helping things out. We had to cut 10 positions, and all of Monday was spent like Survivor, trying to figure out who's been shipped out. My department, fine. We're good. So have a bit of survivor's guilt, feeling a little like a Kryptonian now, But very, very depressing. Made it hard to want to do a lot of stuff this week.
That's fair. That's fair. What was my week? I guess it was a busy TV week because Gen V's back and they hit 3 episodes at once, and this makes my life misery. Try to keep up with things. And then Alien Earth absolutely sucks. I am at the point where I'm shitting all over that terrible show now.
Really?
I hate it. Like, it's gotten worse throughout the season. I hate what it's doing now. The finale's next week, but so... Man,
the last time I asked you about it, you were like, hey, it's pretty good.
No, it wasn't.
That was 2 in. Yeah, I asked you about it. You're like, it's decent.
Yeah, I was a very reserved, it's kind of okay, but like... Yeah, that was the peak. It was more
of a, I was expecting it to be really bad and it's decent. So like this is a net positive. hearing, man, I haven't heard too much about it. To be fair,
I feel like you took more of a positive spin from what I said than what I was intending. It was just okay. The problems have mounted up, and I think it's a terrible show now. I am not positive on it at all.
Man,
that said,
yikes.
Though, I've been reading some post-crisis Superman and some post-crisis Batman, right? I'd already read Byrne's Man of Steel. I was reading some of the stuff that came out. It was still Byrne's run, but it's like just the regular books after that. And I've been reading some Batman and Detective issues from post-crisis, right? From post-year one specifically now, because I'd read the stuff from a little bit before. And I got to an arc, so it's really interesting reading this stuff, because you can tell that obviously Batman Year One happened, and Dark Knight Returns was also going on. And that completely was like a new tone, a new style of Batman. It was really cheesy before then. And the first few issues after Year One, like, it's still kind of the old school, but you can tell that they want to kind of switch to like, there's a whole new expectation of what Batman is now. So Jim Starlin's run on Batman starts, right? And Detective also kind of gets a bit darker. Now we've got like drug dealers and stuff, and like I read the first couple of, there's a 2-part detective story with the first introduction to Scarface and the ventriloquist. That was kind of fun to sort of read that first appearance. But there's an arc in Starlin's Batman run, a few issues in. It's a 4-issue arc called 10 Nights of the Beast, and I think it's the first appearance of KG Beast. Oh. And this arc is so wild, right? So the whole story is about KG Beast coming into Gotham, and he's got like a hit list of 10 people that he wants to kill, and he kills a lot of them in like day one. And like Batman and Gordon are like, oh god, like who's this awful dude going around killing people? It feels quite dark, and it's like, okay. But goddamn, by the end, like I have things to talk about. Like by the end of this arc, right? Because all these like targets are all connected to the Star Wars program, so they're kind of steeping it still in the Cold War stuff, right? This whole thing with Batman taking off his Mission Impossible mask, but he's cool underneath it, that was not just an Outsiders thing that I'm discovering. That was also happening in Batman, because he does it in Batman in this arc, which is otherwise quite a serious arc, and KG Beast is a superimposing villain. In the last part of the arc, the final target, it turns out, is a visiting president, and it's not just like a generic president, it's Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan's in this arc, and Batman kidnaps him in front of the Secret Service because it will keep him safe, because KG Beast keeps like offing people like whenever they're going anywhere. So Batman kidnaps Reagan. So that's going on. And in the arc, like the spoilers here for this arc in case anyone's interested, go back. But Batman goes way out of character at the end and leaves him for dead. Like he traps him in a room with the expectation that he's going to die from starvation. And it's like this cold ending where it's like, oh, he had to be taken off the board. And I'm like, I'm not sure if this is like, we hadn't gotten to the point yet in like 1987 or start 88, I think this was. 87, 88 is when this arc was taking place. I wonder if like, had we just not gotten to the point yet where it was a hard rule that Batman's against killing? Because it kind of felt like it was. Or is this just a case of because Miller made Batman darker, other writers were like going like over a line because they were trying to like get the feel for what Batman is now, and they went a bit too far here. Like I wasn't really sure.
Trying stuff out.
Yeah, so I don't know. It was kind of weird. It wasn't like a bad written arc. It was definitely fun in some respects. I enjoyed the 2-parter in Detective with the Scarface intro a bit more though. It was still darker, but it was a bit more fun. Well,
that's crazy because Starlin was writing at DC from the time he was like a teenager still, right? Like he had come in with the Legion stuff in like this late 60s, early 70s. So yeah, maybe they were just trying stuff out, and there wasn't that hard set rule yet. Because you would think he'd be pretty familiar with all of those characters and the characterization of Batman and such. So yeah, maybe that was just the mindset of that era too, right? Things are a bit darker, grimmer, just in general. So they're trying to make Batman match. I don't know. But yeah, that stands out for the 80s, right?
Yeah, it's just kind of a wild thing. I don't know off the top of my head remember who's writing the detective run right now that I'm reading in that era, but I'm just kind of chipping away through. So anyway, I don't know. I thought I'd bring that up because it was noteworthy. There was an arc in the Superman stuff. I think it was tying into an event at the time. I want to say it was the Millennium event where G. Gordon Godfrey's doing a bunch of stuff on Earth for Darkseid. But as part of the arc, Superman for 3 issues gets transported to Apokolips, and there's a whole thing where he like gets amnesia and is taken control by like their sorceress type character, and helps basically like manipulate a war and kills a bunch of people on Apokolips. And then, but he's all been manipulated. He's not doing this willingly or anything. But then he gets his memories back. I think I want to say it was the Phantom Stranger and someone who helps bring him back. And he takes on Dark. And I was thinking, man, it's kind of dark that Superman has to live with the fact that he was used to murder what seems like an entire army full of innocent people. And there's just a little tag at the end though, where I don't know if it's Stranger or the other character, because I read this like a week or so ago. But they say, oh no, I didn't give him that part back. He's never going to know that he was used for that. To sort of, because Superman shouldn't be burdened with that. So it's like, oh shit, all right, okay. I guess that explains, like, it solves my problem that maybe this is too dark for him to remember, but he just doesn't remember it. So okay, back to Earth to go deal with Luthor and all that.
I wonder if that plays into when he executes the Kryptonian, the Phantom Zone people that get out. There was in like the early 90s, he even dons like an executioner's hood and everything and pulls out the kryptonite. And essentially, and I think I remember the justification of that was he had all this guilt from, that he had stored away from another thing. And I'm wondering if those are related.
Oh, I don't know.
It does pay off down the line.
My hope is that I'll eventually get there. I kind of want to just keep going. I mean, I'll probably take breaks from this like post-crisis Batman and Superman stuff to do other things occasionally, but I kind of want to read all that era of both of those. But it's been interesting. I mean, it's kind of funny again seeing like just like Lois has like a sort of 80s businesswoman haircut in all these like early Byrne issues, which is kind of funny. So that's kind of interesting. But I
think Lois more than anybody else is kind of I don't want to say a victim, but she's a showcase for the times where the books are being written. Because she always reflects, for the last 20 years, she's been roughly the same, right? With the same kind of haircut and, her attire. But yeah, some of the 90s stuff, early 2000s, you're looking like, oh man, it's almost like a time capsule when you go back and look at those old issues.
Yeah, so my plan is to kind of like go through like the rest of the Byrne run and go through like the era that's kind of like in this no man's land, not a story arc no man's land, just a no man's land between things, and then the Triangle era starts, and then from there you're basically set for the next decade plus. Like obviously people know Death of Superman, and that's part of the Triangle era, but like Triangle era lasted about 10-11 years, so it's a whole thing. And if people don't know what the Triangle era is, it was basically just the time when Superman Action, Superman Volume 2, which was called
Adventures of Superman.
Adventures of Superman was Superman Volume 1 technically, but and then eventually a fourth book called Superman Man of Steel, where basically just like they'd have run like a story arc would just go through all those books, and there'd be a triangle on the cover saying which part of the story it was. So effectively all the Superman books became one weekly Superman book, and it would just rotate through creative teams, and they did that for about a decade.
And like you said, the reign of the Superman, the death of Superman, all that ran through those, right? So like when it split off after the death of Superman, one of those books was about Steel, one was about Superboy, Eradicator along the line. And then, I feel like that was towards the end, because I don't feel like they came back together with the return of Superman.
Oh no, the Triangle era went way beyond that. The Triangle era went all the way up to like 2001, because Emperor Joker's still Triangle era style.
Oh man. Wow. Could have sworn there was things where they were more identified.
Nah, the red and blue stuff runs throughout the Triangle era. Like it's all that's all. So they kept that going for a long ass time. It wasn't until like 2001 where they kind of finally said, "Oh, Superman's going to be its own book with its own run. Action's going to be its own book with its own run, so on."
The late 90s are kind of a blind spot for me when it comes to Superman, right? Anything kind of post Death and Return of, nothing really sticks out. So again, I'm not surprised the Triangle kept going, but I would have
Batman kind of dabbled in it. Like if you look at Nightfall or No Man's Land or any of those big events, they kind of like adopted that for those. But I feel like in between those times, Batman kind of was more traditional, where it was just Batman was Batman, Detective was Detective, Legends of the Dark Knight, Shadows of the Bat. But again, when I was reading No Man's Land like last month, it was very much just bouncing through all those books constantly.
Right. Straight line, right? Just they're all No Man's Land.
Yeah. Anywho, so I'll give updates as if I read more classic DC stuff as we go. I've been in the mood recently, but I'm sure I'll take breaks and whatnot. But like I've been dabbling for a bit. All right, let's get into stuff then. We have our Comicsology Top 10, or at least it used to be called that. It's the Kindle rankings now, which I always forget. But looking at the rankings right now on the Kindle store for the books came out this week, you got a guess for number one?
Well, I mean, until we got the news about the Deadpool Batman book, right?
Yeah, that's not there.
That would be on the Kindle list, right?
It doesn't exist as far as they're concerned, so...
Yeah, so I'm going to guess Absolute Flash.
That is incorrect.
Really? Oh, wow. Then I'm going to go with... This is a hope shot. I'm going to go with Nightwing.
No.
No? All right.
That's not
that's
even
why I don't
close.
do those that often. Yeah. Ultimates?
Ultimates is correct. That is number one.
Okay.
Yeah. Number two is Absolute Flash. Number three is Uncanny X-Men. Gail Simone's Uncanny X-Men at that. 4 is The New God, which is actually kind of surprising, actually, in a good way. Number 5 is Fantastic Four. Number 6 is World's Finest. 7 is Amazing Spider-Man. 8 is Batman and Robin Year One. 9 is Justice League Red. And 10 is New Avengers, which is Sam Humphries on that book just now. Do you know what? I'm actually almost mad that Justice League Red and New Avengers were that way around, because we had Marvel DC, Marvel DC, Marvel DC, Marvel DC, and then 9 and 10 just swapped, and I'm like, damn it, we almost had a perfect run of just going back and forth between them.
Your pattern recognition was like, yes, no.
I mean, yeah, so it is what it is. But so 5 out of the 10 are DC, so it's a pretty even split this week. Looking for other DC books outside the top 10, nothing from 11 to 15, but once we get to the next 5, 17 is Nightwing, 18 is the Batman Second Night, 19 is Titans, so that's where they're coming in. Crypto's at 21, so that's where all DC books are spread out amongst. So anywho, not like a super exciting top 10 this week, but it's healthy enough as far as the spread goes, so I can't really complain too much. But yeah, that'll do it for that, because we got Solicits to talk about for December 2025. We'll get to it in this list in the Solicits, but I'll just get the bad news out of the way first. There is a book ending in December, and it is Birds of Prey by Kelly Thompson.
Aww.
Matt did not know that news. That's clearly
no.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised at this, because when they announced she's doing both a Buffy and an Angel book at Dynamite, it kind of seemed like, she's probably going to drop something else. And Absolute Wonder Woman's doing really well, and it's also much younger, so I don't think it's going to be that. So Birds of Prey, it's going to end with issue 28, which is not a bad run by any means. Obviously, I'd like it to keep going for a bit, but at least that got a full omnibus size run out of it.
Yeah.
So,
and it seems like she's getting to end it on her own, right? So I'm going to have someone just take over and go off on a thing. So
it's also worth mentioning that Scott Snyder has hinted that a bunch of books are going to get relaunched in March. Now, I'm not thinking she'll be back, but it's entirely possible that a new Birds of Prey book might launch in March if they're doing a whole line of new books. We'll see what comes of those. It does make me wonder, though, if anything else is going to end between now and February, though, to make way for some of these new books. So we'll keep an eye on things. World's Finest would be an alright one to end. I'm just saying that. I'll put that up front. It's already way into the 40s, and it's not really been that good, so
it doesn't really have an identity. It's kind of whatever Waid feels like.
Waid's got other things he could be writing, so it's fine. But yeah, we'll get into the Solicits here. We'll go down. So we've got some tie-ins for DCKO in December. Now, some of these are one-shots. I assume they're one-shots anyway, and some of them are actually just like issues of regular books that are being taken over for the month. So it's kind of a weird hodgepodge to the first 8 of these, first 8 books here, because some of them are one shots, some of them are like just the next issue of whatever book. But first up is DC KO Superman versus Redacted. So that'll change once we can not spoil who it is. Right. So yeah, this is a Joshua Williamson and Sean Isaacs one shot in December. So
yeah, so it'll look nice. You know, Isaacs is a decent artist. So the way that these are alternating is driving me nuts. As someone that wants to, you know, collect things, right, for events, I tend to pick those up physically. So the idea of having to pick up books that I normally am not, because it's the quote next part. Yeah. Well, I mean, a bit irritating. But,
I don't know how much these are next parts though. They're saying 1 of 8, 2 of 8 for the fight month, which is what they're bannering these, because this says DCKO all fight month round 1 of 8. So I don't know. I mean, these feel like they're probably going to be pretty standalone, each of them. So you can probably pick and choose which ones you can read. I suspect we'll read the one shots at the very least, but. Then we have Aquaman 12, which is out the following week, which is round 2 of 8. So Aquaman versus someone, presumably. And then same week as that, there's DCKO Wonder Woman versus Redacted, issue 1. So again, we don't know who that's going to be, but that's going to be written by Joelle Jones with art by Jason Howard on that one shot. So that's interesting. And then Titans 30, the week after, on December 15th, is round 4 of 8. So, you know, that's just, again, the current team that's doing that book, writing that issue. And then same week as that, we have DCKO Harley Quinn versus Redacted, issue 1. This is written by Leah Williams and art by Marika Andolfo. So that's round 5 of 8. And again, this just says surprise opponent. So again, they're keeping all these secretive. I imagine after KO issue 1 is when we'll have an idea of what these are all going to be.
Yeah, because I've seen a bracket put together with the names that we already know, with the, you know, and then the question marks. Yeah. So I'm sure that'll be fully released once we get the, you know, as you said, KO 1 comes out, or ZO, whatever that is.
Yeah. Then Flash 28 is round 6 of 8, which is Christopher Cantwell and Mark Waid. So I guess maybe those 2 stories, or they're co-writing. But no, but that's not Cy Spurrier. So Flash 28 is not the regular team that's on that book. So that may be something that's worth looking at, even for us, despite the fact that we're not reading the run. And then also on Christmas Eve is Superman 33, which is round 7 of 8, which is, again, is back to Joshua Williamson, Hayden Sherman on the art for that issue. Also, Christmas Eve is DCKO Red Hood versus Redacted, issue 1. This is also Williamson, but with also Scott Snyder here. That said, all the one-shots are all like annual sized, so I suspect that they all have backups, and that's why we've got 2 writers on this one. So, cool. Whereas, obviously, the regular issues that are tying into this fight month are just regular sized, so they're probably just the one main story.
I mean, back to the Superman that comes out on Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas to me. I'm getting Hayden Sherman drawing a Superman book. Yeah. So, like, we'll have Wonder Woman, even though it's absolute. He's done Batman with Dark Patterns, and now he's moved on to Superman. So, like, that's pretty cool.
I was going to say, that's going to be a nightmare to schedule, and I thought about it. No, if the books are out on Christmas Eve, that means our show is going to be in like in between Christmas and New Year, so we're probably unaffected. It's when they come out on like the 20th where we have to start being weird with the schedule, because we usually that means the recording's probably falling around Christmas. So that's all the fight month issues. So half of them are one shots, half of them are just regular ongoing books that are getting taken over for an issue. And then on December 3rd as well, we get the second issue of DCKO Night Fight, which is Williamson. There's a lot of Williamson across this, isn't there? I'm getting a little bit concerned of how much of Joshua Williamson's name I'm seeing.
Also, but Snyder is, from all intents and purposes, everything that I've read, Snyder is guiding it, right? So hopefully he has someone there to be like, Josh, don't do that. You know?
I'm sure it'll be focused enough, but it's just a question of how much all this tie-in stuff works with. It's interesting though, there isn't a KO issue like 2 or 3 in these solicits, I don't think. So Is there no, like, I mean, I assumed there was a kind of central miniseries that was running through all these, and I guess I didn't think about this last month with the Solicits, but is there just no...
Well, maybe that's what this fight month is. It's to set up 2, right? So this is taking the place of 2, and then we'll jump to whatever it goes to. But I thought it was a miniseries.
I would have thought so too.
Maybe not. Maybe.
But there's no
maybe
KO
it's just the event name.
issue 2 or 3 here. I can't remember if it starts in October or November, but there's no like central DC KO here, which maybe there isn't one directly, or maybe there is, but like you say, it's taking months off when all these other things are happening instead. I don't know. I'd have to go back and check the solicit for that first issue, because there's definitely an issue 1 of KO, but we'll see. All right, so on the other stuff, we have Justice League Unlimited issue 14. So yeah, that's just Waid and Dan Mora. Mora's actually doing that Night Fight issue 2 as well. So yeah, more Mora, as we keep saying. Then we got Absolute Batman 15, Jock, guest artist on this issue, so it's going to look good.
That cover, man, I've seen some very funny takes about that cover. Like, what is Absolute Batman even about? What H.P. Lovecraft-esque things are going on in that book?
What's so confusing? It's a Joker monster.
Yeah, no, I know, but it was just like, from some of the other stuff that they had seen with Absolute Batman, because I'm feeling a lot of the people engaging with this aren't reading the book, right? So they're not seeing all the grotesque stuff that we are, especially in this last arc. So they just see this Joker creature, and from what pits of hell did this crawl out of? All that kind of stuff. But yeah, definitely making the devil, definitely making Joker.
Spiritually,
that
he's the
much
devil.
more scary. Yes. Here he also physically looks like the devil. he's got a pointed tail, looks like cloven hooves. Bit of a xenomorph quality to him, a little bit. So yeah. Mark this down. Excited for Joker. Absolute Joker, that is.
Yeah, well, we also have an Absolute Batman Arkham Special Issue 1, so we're getting a one-shot, which has got Snyder on it as well, but we also have Frank Thierry writing, so whether that's like co-writing or two-story, it's a regular-sized issue, so maybe it's just co-writing, but Josh Hickson is on the art. I don't know who that is, so I don't know if I should be excited or not. But it is interesting that, there was always the possibility of getting absolute, like, tie-ins or events as well as the regular books. So obviously the Absolute stuff's selling very well. It's always high ranking on the Kindle store, so it doesn't surprise me that they'll milk it a little bit more as well.
Yeah, we got the vibe when they announced that villain special that they're doing with all the different villains from the Absolute books.
That's right.
In that one shot. So I'm not surprised at this one, because there's so much that that they've hinted at within Arkham in this arc that there's stuff. But so Josh Hickson has done Department of Truth, Shanghai Red, because something called The Deviant, Something's Killing the Children. So it seems like someone that's worked with Tynan a lot, which doesn't surprise me. I'm working with coming over to DC, working on something that Snyder's working on. Still some of those ties there. So
yes,
that's cool.
It's not surprising. We got Absolute Wonder Woman issue 15. Which has got Absolute Batman and Absolute Wonder Woman meeting up for the first time, so we're starting to get crossovers, not crossovers with the regular universe, but crossovers where the different members that I assume there'll be eventually an Absolute Justice League of some sort. This will be like maybe starting on the path to that down the line, so that's kind of cool. But yeah,
because it also says that Don't Miss January's Absolute Batman 16 for the second chapter.
Oh,
so,
cool.
So it's like it's an actual crossover.
Yeah, so they're doing like a two-parter.
Very cool.
Between the two books. That's fun. So and this, because that's coming on Christmas Eve, and Absolute Batman presumably will be coming like a bit earlier in January, so you'll get it, fairly close together, which is kind of cool. And then we got Absolute Superman issue 14, which seems to be ending the arc for that book where it is. And then we get Absolute Flash issue 10. More on Absolute Flash later, because obviously we got thoughts on this week's issue. Absolute Green Lantern issue 9. Ticking along there. Obviously the last issue was quite exciting, I thought, so I'm curious to see where we're going with that. Absolute Martian Manhunter issue 7 lands in December, which is exciting because obviously issue 6 just happened and it's a little bit of a break. So we get 2 months off and then it's back in December. So that's not too bad of a wait for the second half, especially if it helps keep Javier Rodriguez on every issue, which because he's such an important part of that book that it would be wild to not have him on any of it. So
for sure,
that's good stuff. So yeah, we got Batman issue 4, so we're out of the Absolute books here. So yeah, Matt Fraction's run continuing, which, just on that note, they announced just yesterday that issue 1 has top 500,000 sales. So
dang.
Yeah,
we get really, age, it's kind of unheard of.
I mean, we get really cynical about them renumbering things to issue 1, but this doesn't happen unless you do an issue 1. Because 500,000 people aren't buying issue 2. Like, the reason why it's at 500,000 is because people are buying tons of variants, and yeah, there's some new people coming in as well, sure, but a lot of people drop off. People won't buy as many variants for following issues. So yeah, they're going to have a bunch of issue 1s in March, it sounds like, so we'll see what they end up with, but hopefully none of the runs that we are enjoying are coming to an end. That's all I'll say.
Yes.
We got Nightwing 133 in December, so that's cool. Martian Manhunter apparently seems to be guesting in the issue, which is cool.
And I love the circus backdrop. Right there too. The red looks,
neat.
Very striking.
Yeah, V. Kenneth Marion's the artist on that book. Dexter Sully's just doing the cover. I assume just taking an issue off because of being busy.
Yep.
We got Batgirl issue 14. So that's cool. Excited to see. We got Segovia on art on that issue, so don't know if that's an artist change or again just like a fill-in. But yeah, either way.
Nothing really from the Solicit. I was just scanning it. Nothing that says like a new arc or whatever. So yeah, maybe it's just a fill-in.
Nah, yeah, they don't usually tell us really. It would be nice if they made that clear, but they never bother. Then Birds of Prey 28 is here. Don't miss the final issue, it says at the start, so no uncertain terms about it. This is the finale. But hey, it's been a good run. This'll wrap things up. And who knows? Maybe we'll get a Birds of Prey book in March. Maybe we won't, but either way.
Yeah. Look, DC, I better get my Barda fix from somewhere. All right. Get that out there, please.
Yeah. I'm just glad that Kelly Thompson still has a foot in DC with Absolute Wonder Woman, and hopefully that keeps her around for quite some time. Then we got Batman and Robin, issue 28, with Philip Kennedy Johnson doing more of his creepy Quiet Man stuff, which we'll look forward to. Catwoman 82 is there. That's a nice cover on that. I can't complain about that, even though I'm not wanting to read it.
Yeah, Fiumara on that.
Yeah.
Just like Selena dancing with Carmine. So, yeah.
Then cool. Harley Quinn issue 200. I've got a feeling they're doing some legacy numbering bullshit here to get us to 200, I assume.
Yeah.
But, Yeah.
Nothing.
I haven't fact checked, of course, their 200 claim, because I don't read Harley Quinn, but it's an oversized issue, of course. It's a 50-page number, $6, but fair enough. They're doing a 200 issue special. I do wonder, are they sticking to this though? Is the next one going to be 201?
Yeah.
We'll find out. But Poison Ivy 39 is there. Wilson and Takara's run continues. We got Harley and Ivy, Life of Crimes issue 2. So that's going on. We got Action Comics 1093 with the current team still doing their Superboy stuff. We got Detective Comics 1104. And that's still Taylor and Yannon trucking along.
Trying to see who that is on the cover, because that's looks like Scarecrow iconography, maybe.
I mean,
it says the
Scarecrow,
the fear will end.
Yeah, Scarecrow's in the book. It says that in the solicit text. That doesn't look like Scarecrow to me on the cover.
No, but I just saw the fear will end, and I was like, what does this have to do with Scarecrow, right?
Well,
because that guy's not recognizable. So
yeah, it's there. The variant's very nice. The Greg Smallwood variant with Jim Gordon, which looks very, very good.
I mean, I didn't even have to know what it looked like to know when he said Smallwood. I was like, oh yeah, I'm sure it's great.
Yeah, Supergirl issue 8 is a coming, so that's cool. Superman Unlimited issue 8. Guy Gardner guesting. So it's going to be the worst issue of the book, obviously.
How dare you? Lucas Meyer on the art? No way. You gonna see that stupid haircut done Lucas Meyer's style.
He doesn't have the I mean, yeah, he has a stupid haircut, but I mean, he doesn't have the old school stupid haircut.
The full bowl cut now. Yeah. But yes. Oh, I'm very excited.
Wonder Woman 28. Yep, still doing Mouseman stuff. Tom King, that's Sam Pierre. Very nice cover, as per usual with that stuff.
Yes.
Justice League Red issue 5, Black Adam getting involved. Based on, I mean, we kind of knew he was going to get involved, but he's on the cover for this one. So that's cool. JSA issue 14. Hopefully we're more enthusiastic about JSA by the time we get to 14.
I gotta get caught up still. I'm still too behind. So, I'll get there.
Maybe. We'll see. Adventures of Superman, Book of L, issue 4. So yeah, that's coming.
I missed on that one. How did you feel about that book?
Mostly positive. Yeah, I had a good time.
Okay.
Felt big, felt grand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read that on the plane coming back, and I hadn't seen anybody talking about it, so curious.
I mean, obviously, what it sets up, it's hard to know how I'll feel about this, like what it is going forward. But the actual build-up in the first issue was good stuff.
Okay. Cool.
Batman Superman World's Finest 46. There's a Joker Luthor team up coming seemingly. So
that is a fun cover. It's split 4 ways. With representation of Superman, Batman, Joker, and Lex, but each not quite a quarter of their face is made up by something else.
Yeah, the point is though is that it's Superman's like forehead, Batman's eyes, Joker's smile, and then Lex Luthor's chin. So it's a striking visual. I'll say that if nothing else. Green Lantern 30. Is there. Batman's going to be involved, so that's the thing. Green Lantern Corps issue 11 has got no cover yet, but it is coming out, so fun. Green Arrow 31, Condon's run continues. We'll be talking about issue 19 today of that for Patreon. And then we got Cheetah and Cheshire Rob the Justice League issue 5. Super pumped for more of that, of course. Wonder Woman's on the cover with Cheetah, so that's pretty exciting, having that team back doing some Wonder Woman writing. Yeah, that's cool. Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong 2 issue 6. Again, I've dropped that book, but that cover is quite nice.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, the sun behind Kong's back, Godzilla's claw in the foreground, getting ready to show down.
It's definitely inspired by that poster for Kong Skull Island.
Yes, that mediocre movie, Kong Skull Island, yes.
No, it's not mediocre. It's lots of fun. How dare you, sir?
It's very mediocre. The characters suck.
Kong is great. How dare you?
They tried to convince us that Tom Hiddleston and Brie Larson had anything resembling chemistry, and it just was not there. Gotham Academy first year issue 3. So that's the book that's starting next month. Superman the Kryptonite Spectrum issue 5, which is the final issue. If anything, I'm surprised it was 5 issues. I thought it was like 3 or 4. So fair enough. Yeah,
I thought it was 4, judging by the amount of shards from the first issue.
Yeah,
but
I mean, this one says it's 32 pages. I swear those have been longer than standard size.
Yeah,
they've been like 40-page books, right?
So it feels like I'll have to go back and look.
Well, or at least 30 without ads. But I mean, on regular comics, 20 pages. I swear they've been at least 30. Those first 2 issues. But I mean, maybe I'm imagining things. But anyway. So issue 5's in December. That wraps it up. We have Batman Static Beyond issue 2. We got Immortal Legend Batman issue 5. That's your anime one. And then we got Batman Gotham by Gaslight, A League for Justice issue 6, wrapping up that Elseworld story. Then we got our usual facsimiles and whatnot. I'll skip past those. You have Court, Children of the Round Table issue 4, so that's still going.
There's our boy with his stick still, so it must be.
Oh, that's right.
Must be an actual thing. It wasn't just a stick that hit him in the face.
He's got his stick.
Yeah.
Teen Titans Go, issue 10, and then we're out of the collections, which we have Absolute Superman Volume 2, Son of the Demon, Superman New Krypton Saga Omnibus Volume 1, so first half of the New Krypton era of things. So cool, I guess. We got Absolute Wonder Woman Volume 2, As My Mother's Made Me. We got Superman Unlimited Volume 1, so yeah, a lot of collections of recent stuff that's obviously been coming out. Teen Titans Go, Go Big or Go Home collection. We have Green Lantern Dark. That's getting a hardcover with the 7 issues in it. We got Resurrection Man Quantum Karma. That's getting a soft cover. We got Crypto Last Hour Krypton soft cover. Fire and Ice When Hell Freezes Over soft cover. We have Green Lantern Volume 5 soft cover. That's the Fracture Spectrum. That goes up to issue 24. So the crossover arc will be its own trade, presumably, afterwards. And then we got Batgirl Volume 2 Bloodlines, which is issues 7 to 11. We have Batman Detective Comics Volume 2 Elixir, which is the second of the Tom Taylor run. Notably, it has all of Detective 1100, so it's got those backups as well by those other writers. Because sometimes they split those up if there's other places to put them, but here it's just all collected, so that's cool. GSA Volume 2 Ragnarok, the Absolute Power softcover. We have the Gotham by Gaslight Compact Edition. We have the Batman White Knight Compact Edition. We have the Crisis on Infinite Earths Absolute Edition. That's a new printing. That's definitely had an Absolute before. So that's there. DC's Finest Superman Time and Time Again, which is part of the Triangle era that we were talking about earlier, actually. That's 1990 to 1991. So this is like just a little bit before Death of Superman, because that was 92.
Yeah.
So... Yeah.
Says that it collects Superman 49 to 56, Starman 28, Adventures of Superman 472 to 479, and Action 659 to 666. So definitely seems like they're interweaving those with those numbers there. So.
Then we got DC's Finest Batman, The Case of the Chemical Syndicate, which is like Golden Age stuff. So
39 to 41.
Yeah, good luck reading those, because Golden Age comics are... Look, I'm glad they exist, so that obviously we got to where we are, but I don't want to go back and read it. DC's Finest Green Arrow, The Trial of Oliver Queen. This is some Dennis O'Neil stuff, with also Mike Grell, Mark Verheiden, and Sarah Baum. So it's got 4 writers, so it's just a bunch of stuff. What era is this? Is this Silver Age Green Arrow stuff?
I'm looking if it's... Was that the question?
Well, it does have Mike Grell, but if it was Mike Grell's run, surely it'd just mostly be Mike Grell.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I'm looking at because of the question in there, so it's got to be at least the 70s.
No, I think no. This is definitely late 80s, early 90s, because of the action numbers. I think it is. Okay. I think Mike Grell's. It's weird that he's not first on the list. I think all the Green Arrow issues here are Mike Grell's run. I think this is issues 9 to 20 of Mike Grell's run. And then the reason why those other people are there is because Dennis O'Neil was writing the question at that time, and that question issue's there. And then presumably the other writers are for Secret Origins or Action Comics. Like, I think this is Mike Grell's run. This is not anything older than that. It's just confusing because they put him third when it's mostly him.
Well, yeah. Well, and it also says key Black Canary material from Action, right? So those pieces are in there as well.
Yeah, because I think that's when Action Comics was weekly, and there was like backups every week. So that'll be what that is. Just really weird. Like, it's the same with that Detective Comics collection that has Detective 1100 in it. Tom Taylor's listed like 4th in the writers when he clearly should be the top billed one, because he's, not that he's listed 4th in the book itself, just on League of Comic Geeks he's listed 4th, but it makes it confusing because obviously it's his run. And then there's a few backups with these other writers. It's the same thing here. Mike Grell's 3rd in the list, even though... is it alphabetical, maybe? Maybe
no. Not. V does not come before G.
No, it's alphabetical by the first name.
Oh, okay. I was like...
You were so confident there. I get that when you're officially putting names alphabetically, you go by their surname. Yes. But look at the way they're written out. I think it's alphabetical.
Yes.
Anyway, DC's Finest Wonder Woman Enter the Cheetah. This is Golden Age stuff because William Marston's listed as one of the writers.
Yeah. Being a big cheetah guy, I might have to pick this up, just to have it.
You're not going to read this, though. It's Golden Age stuff.
No, I just want it for my shelf.
Okay, all right, okay. Fair enough, fair enough. I ain't going to argue. We got Batman by James Tynion, the Fourth Omnibus, Volume 2, which is a weird collection, actually, because it's got, like, a bunch of his Batman run, right? The last chunk of it. But it's also got, like, a lot of the Joker issues he did, and then a bunch of, like, one-shots and stuff that ties into his Batman run. So it's kind of a weird hodgepodge collection. Because they probably could have just done his entire Batman run in one big omnibus, but they decided to include all this other stuff, which is why it's 2 volumes, I guess. But, yeah, which is also separate from his Detective Comics omnibus, which was its own run. But,
this is the stuff they gave us Ghostmaker, huh?
And also, Punchline, I think? Was Punchline in this era?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, and Miracle Molly, I forgot about her.
Miracle Molly, yeah.
Wild stuff. Wild to remember all this. Batman Universe Deluxe Edition, that was the Bendis Batman book. Peacemaker Tries Hard, softcover. Batman and Robin by Tomasi and Gleason, Book 3, softcover. So that's kind of wrapping up their run. And then we got the Federal Bureau of Physics, Volume 1. Was this a Vertigo book? It is a Vertigo book.
Yes.
I was like, I don't know what this is. It must be Vertigo.
Yep. I remember these ads in my comics whenever this came out.
Okay.
So I had no idea what this book's about, but I do. This image, the pink upside down guy, I definitely remember that image.
Green Arrow, Golden Age Omnibus, Volume 1, new printing. So this has been done before, but yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Super old Green Arrow stuff. Green Lantern Compendium 2, the Sinestro Corps War. So this is the giant softcover collections, like omnibus size, but in softcover, meaning the spine gets absolutely destroyed when you read it.
1,392 pages.
Which, see, if it's a hardcover with a sewn binding, I'm like, okay, it's big, but that's fine. A softcover, you're just gonna have a giant crease down the spine as soon as you open it. Like,
well, and again, it's not good to read. Like, you just get the smaller collections, right? Like, if you're going to sit there and read them. But I feel like these are for the shelf collecting type people, I think
an omnibus is good. Like, I think in a hardcover it's fine. And I think 6 issues feels puny in the hand. I think that's too small.
Like a pizza size queen.
Like, I mean, a 12-issue deluxe, that feels about right. But I think an omnibus is fine. It's just, but this is, just whatever. Yeah. Then we got Shade, the Changing Man by Peter Milligan and Chris Bacalo omnibus, Volume 2. That's another post-crisis series, I believe. I know it's Vertigo, but it's from that era. And then we got Superman the 70s softcover, new edition. And then we got Flash by Mark Waid omnibus, Volume 3. Which is not the end of his run, because his run went so long that there's a 4th omnibus, I think, still to come. But 3rd omnibus of his stuff, so that's cool. It's kind of interesting that you've already got the 3 volumes of John's omnibus. You could get the Mark Waid omnibuses, or Omnibuy. The New 52s had an omnibus for that run. Yeah. Like, I love that you could theoretically get most of, like, everything from Flash from the mid-80s up until now in omnibus form in the not too distant future. It's interesting.
Our generation of Flash is very well collected. There's so many different.
It is now. When I started reading comics, it was not. Like, even the John's run was hard to get a hold of when I started reading.
Yeah.
But we got the Invisibles Compendium softcover. That's even bigger. That's 1,500 pages in softcover.
Yeah.
So look forward to that. Joker Bronze Age Omnibus, new edition. This is such a weird collection because it's like basically just all the different random issues of Batman, Detective, and so on that happen to have Joker from a certain time period. So it's not like a through-line story or all one writer or anything like that. It's just, it's like a... Do you know when like TV shows would used to do those weird releases where they do like a one DVD of like, oh, here's like the 5 best episodes featuring this character. I'm like, who wants to watch a TV show like this? This is weird.
Yeah.
But if you're a really big Joker fan and you want like a coffee table style, here's just a bunch of random Joker issues.
I didn't realize Joker had his own series back then. This is Joker 1 through 10.
Yeah, it was only 10 issues. That's all it was.
Yeah.
I think I encountered that because I got a soft cover back when I first started buying comics, and it was all collected editions. I got a soft cover that was a collection like this, but for Scarecrow, and it was like Joker issue like 7 or something was in that collection.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, there you go. Titans by Tom Taylor Omnibus, which is maybe stretching it a little bit, but it does also have Beast War or Beast World.
Yeah. Beast War.
Beast War. Yeah, it was Beast War. That was Beast World. Beast World War? I don't know. Anyway.
It has a listed war here. I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure
I like the story.
I'm pretty sure it was Beast World at the time.
Okay.
And they've maybe typoed it here. But yeah, so it's got the 1 to 15 of Titans, the 6 issues of Beast War, or Beast World, whatever it was called, and a couple of issues of Nightwing that set up the Titan. Now, there is, I think, some critiques to be had here that the Nightwing issues that are in here are also in the Nightwing Taylor Omnibus as well. So there's a little bit of overlap there, but I can kind of see why they wanted to include them for setting up the Titan stuff. But anyway, I mean, I think Titans 1 to 15 and the Beast War miniseries is a good enough collection to be worth having. But if you already have the Taylor Nightwing Omnibus, I can see why you'd be a little bit miffed that 5 of the issues are the same. But hey, is what it is. We got Tom Strong Compendium 2. We have Earth 2, the New 52 Omnibus Volume 1. Was the Earth 2 series and the New 52 exciting enough that people would want multiple omnibuses of it?
So this is how I got introduced to Tom Taylor, because he took over for James Robinson.
Oh, interesting.
On this Earth 2 book, I want to say 11 issues in, Robinson was like, I'm done. So it was fine. It introduced Val Zod as that character, as the successor to Superman and whatever. But yeah, enough to necessitate an omnibus. I didn't realize there was that much of it. So yeah.
I mean, it's not even just an omnibus. This is Omnibus Volume 1, which would suggest that there's going to be at least a second omnibus. So, I don't know. Yeah. Anywho, that's the end of the Solicits.
That's it.
And unfortunately, I'm already getting hungry. We've not even started talking about the book shit. Anyway, we'll get into said books. So starting things off, we have Absolute Flash, issue 7, Jeff Lemire writing with Travis Moore on the art in this issue. So I quite enjoyed this. I enjoyed the build-up, because basically it starts off with Wally walking in a storm, and it's kind of the implication, because I immediately was like, wait, the news reports are talking about the storm, it's thunder and lightning. I'm like, wait a minute, we're getting weather wizard shit here, aren't we?
Yeah.
They're building up to weather wizard. And then not only that, they even build up to some Mirror Master stuff, because there's a moment where Wally walks away and his reflection sort of keeps smiling at him. And I'm like, oh shit, we're building up to these new other rogue characters that we've not gotten to yet. This is fun.
That's one of my favorite tropes, in a horror movie, or even with here in Flash with Mirror Master, the reflection that looks back. It's so creepy, and it never fails to give a chill down my spine, which here, there's a lot going on. So, him just walking by him, of course, not noticing it. There's a storm or whatever.
Yeah,
he's got Grodd with him. So
yeah, I just really liked the build up in this issue. It was really focused. It's just Wally going to get something to eat at a store, kind of trying to argue for getting it for free because he's got no money. There's an interlude with his dad and Eleanor Thawne, who's going to have him killed, but then he's like, no, I'll bring my son back at all costs, I promise. And she starts talking about this specimen, an alien or whoever it is they've got in a test tube, and she's like, oh, we found what came before us, we found a god. And I'm like, okay, I'm looking at this creature, and I'm like, it looks a little bit like one of the Green Lantern species, but other than Salak, but that's the only thing I can think of, really.
It's also got some Martian vibes, Green Martian vibes, from traditional, when they have the big cone kind of head. But to be honest, I feel like this is new. The way she's talking about it as their predecessor, right, is almost I'm wondering if this is something to do with the Speed Force, right? This was an ancient alien species or whatever that had tapped into it or whatever, where we are. But yeah, she's definitely given sinister vibes. So far out of all the absolute villains, she gives me the creeps the most. Because I kind of know where Ra's al Ghul stands. We haven't really got to know Joker yet. But this Eleanor Thawne, just her creepiness, the way she stares at this thing in the test tube, it just, it gives me the chills.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd say she's creepier than, say, I don't know, like absolute Joker so far has been very ominous. Like, you know, he's been very mysterious.
But we haven't gotten much to him yet. We've seen him talk a couple times, right? We know he's behind the Arc M stuff, but you know, with her, she's been a pretty big character in her appearances. She's been in like what, 2 or 3 of these.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just don't think she's that like. I mean, she's fine, but like she's a bit just kind of generic. I'm the villain, like monologuing, do what I say. Like I don't know. I just wouldn't say she's that creepy to me. She's just kind of
no. She's just the way that she's talked about them as, you know, creations, and just there's a sense to her, like a definite cold like mad scientist type, where everything's an experiment, nothing has feelings, nothing matters, she just wants to get the results. There's that vibe with her, and again, that just, those type of villains always give me the creeps. It's kind of like Brainiac, although I guess you could argue that that's also Brainiac in Absolute Superman. You know, we had some of that, but with
Brainiac's way creepier than this character.
Yeah, I take it back. Brainiac's giving me the creeps way more at this point. So much so that I repressed it and I buried it deep in my brain. So
yeah, I really like the again, the atmosphere, like, because the rogues are flying in on this ship, and like they're like basically dodging lightning as they're flying, and they break because Wally got arrested for trying to like you know, take all, because he
shoplift.
He collapsed when he was trying to like shoplift because he ran out of energy. So he wakes up in a jail cell, and it's actually, you know, the cops are like taking out his outfit, and they're sort of, what the hell is this? And the rogues just break in, they bust a big hole in the wall, and Captain Cold basically just says, hey, you know, come with us, right? We'll go find Grodd. And Wally kind of just agrees. You know, he's a little reluctant, but he's kind of like in a bit of a bind. But he's like agreeing to help with his powers. And he's like, I'll need a snack. So they give him like an energy bar or something. Yeah. And it's like, okay, we have to find him in the storm. So Wally goes speeding around looking for Grodd, and actually gets hit by lightning a couple times. And we eventually see Weather Wizard, and he just straight up looks like a wizard in this. Right?
Yeah, he looks like Gandalf in street clothes.
Yeah. Well, even his coat feels like a big... I mean, it's a trench coat, but it's got like almost like a wizard cloak kind of flow to it. So it adds to the whole wizard look with the long hair and the beard and all that.
For sure.
And then we basically get that moment from the first Avengers movie where Thor like hits Iron Man with lightning, and he's like, oh, you've just supercharged me. That happens here, where Wally gets hit with lightning, and he's like, wait, I'm not hungry anymore. You just gave me a burst of energy. So yeah, he knocks out Weather Wizard. And the ending to the issue is basically Wally saying, you know, I'm not going back to that lab with you guys, right? You realize that. There's no way I'm going back. And then Cold says, neither are we. And they're like, wait, what? And he's like, nah, like, we're the ones with all the powers now. We can do whatever we want. And the issue ends with him saying, hey, how about it, kid? You want to go rogue? And, you know, smirk. Now, obviously, last issue was the one where we flash back and we sort of showed how the rogues all got recruited, and they were kind of all recruited under duress, you know, forced, being manipulated, or like, you know, it's like, hey, you'll be into trouble if you don't come and help us, kind of thing. So they can very much set up that they don't like the idea of who they're working for. So now, do I think that they're going to be long-term allies of Wally? I'm not sure I'm ready to jump on that. I see it breaking down at some point, but you know, it's an interesting direction to go in that's very different from the regular universe, so I'm definitely down to see what they do with this.
Yeah, and I also love the frenemy part of it, because that's what I always associate Wally with the rogues, where he is more like a, come on, guys, I don't want to take you in, what are you doing? So I like that this subverts it here, where they're supposed to be bringing him in, right? But it's like, we're not going back there. We're the weapons, you know, come with us. You know, and it's going to be an uneasy alliance or whatever, but I do like that it subverts what we normally get with this. So, but yeah, the weather wizard stuff was really cool. Like you brought up like in Thor, right, with the supercharge or whatever. He kind of looks like a version of Thor here. So, I
mean, I think that's just happenstance because it's long hair and a beard.
Yeah, but just with the weather and the storms and the whatever, like again, it can't be a complete accident.
I mean. No, I think it is. Like, I think you're reading into this in a way that you don't. No, you always do this. You see something you want to see, and you say, no, I think it's intentional. No, they made him look like a wizard. right? His name is Weather Wizard. They're going for classic wizard with long hair and a robe. That's what they're trying to emulate here. Any parallels to Thor is just you, right? It's just you.
Fine, but with the way he was throwing lightning and stuff, I was definitely getting Thor vibes, like Thor of the mythologies, and whatever. So not the Marvel version. You don't necessarily need the hammer, right? But yes, definitely a lot of fun in this. The scene with Wally stealing the food and him trying not to, again, it just shows like he is a good kid who's caught up in all of this, and him trying to bargain with the lady. And the lady's like, no, if you want food, you got to buy it. So that whole sequence where he's trying to speed around and then he passes out because he has no energy, I thought that was very well handled. And definitely gets to the where Wally still is.
I feel like one little protein bar giving him that much energy, he'd go and take on Weather Wizard. I feel like he should have to eat more than that to get back up to full speed. But I mean, whatever. I'll let that slide. Because I think the build up here was good. I think the ending's a fun direction for it to go in, and I do like the idea that when Weather Wizard wakes up, they might try and win him over. Like, hey, join this team. Why wouldn't we? Now, obviously, that tease a Mirror Master at the start with the reflection. That's a very separate thing, and we'll see where that's going. Because we know that the Mirror Masters are already starting to meet each other from the different universes. So, very curious to see where we go with that. But Travis Moore and art, obviously a different artist than normal, but Travis Moore is a very clean, very pleasant artist to look at his work. It's very, it's maybe a little different energy wise than what this book's been, because the previous artist was doing a lot of like those overlapping things with the red and yellow kind of lines to represent the Speed Force. This was a bit more straightforward in a sense, but it was very pleasing to look at the entire time. I have no real complaints about it.
No, and I think all this speed stuff is very much what we associate with traditional Flash. So while it wasn't the absolute thing with the repeating lines and the energy bursts and whatever, it definitely, I feel like with Travis Moore and all the work that he's done and like Titans and Nightwing, and we've had Wally show up, this is what it felt like. So at least that familiarity helps. But yeah, I thought all the action sequences with the rain and the lightning, I think were very well handled. Like there's a lot of energy in them with the way that Wally's running and getting thrown around by the wind. So it makes it for a fun read. And then when he connects with Weather Wizard, that's where it kind of more feels like the Robles stuff. Just, I don't know if it's the coloring. I don't know if it's the way that he's drawing the energy or whatnot. But yeah, I didn't have too many problems with the art here.
No, I mean, it's arguably it maybe even fits Lemire's writing style a bit better than the regular artist. But it looks very pleasing. It made for a quick read because it is such a nice, clean, kind of fast-paced book. I think all the stuff with the lightning all looked pretty great. I had a good time. It's kind of. Obviously, we had that sort of rush of like the arc ending before the last, because the last issue was that very separate kind of flashback thing. But ultimately, that was there then. That flashback issue is where it was because they wanted this ending for this issue, and it feels like that issue set up one that they're all disgruntled for working for his dad and Eleanor in the first place, but also this idea that they've went rogue before, so this ending doesn't feel out of place. It doesn't feel out of nowhere. It feels like you've set this up, you've set up that they would have this attitude, and effectively by giving them all these powers, because they didn't have powers to begin with, it was all said, hey, we'll give you powers, we'll give you technology that you can use. Now Captain Cold's like, well, we got powers now, what are they going to do to stop us? So that's exciting. So it's a good direction to go in. Had a good time.
It makes me wonder what else she has up her sleeve, right? Because who was the other character that Wally helped out when he was staying with the Dibneys a couple issues ago? Him and Grodd went to go help.
Was it Tar Pit? No, it wasn't Tar Pit.
It was very similar to Tar Pit.
Heatwave?
Yes, it was Heatwave, and that was a little bit different than what we're used to with him. So I'm wondering what else she has. Like, if we have the Rogues, who is she sending after the Rogues now? Like, again, what's out there? So
I imagine
Grodd's accounted for.
Yeah, I imagine Sheila's going to be pretty pissed when she realizes that this team is gone rogue.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of fun. I'm glad this book's rounding into shape. It become, this last issue and this issue, I think, were two of the stronger ones. So I'm happy to keep going.
No. I mean, I think even the first arc, it was getting better as it went along. But yeah, no, it's feeling a bit more, like you say, set in place the further along we get. So, all right, what are you giving Absolute Flash, issue 7?
I'm going to give this a straight 8.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think it was a really good issue. I had a good time. Excited for the next one. All right, cool. Nightwing 130, Legacy number 317. Dan Waters writing with Dexter Soy on the art. So, yeah, obviously we set up the Nightwing Prime stuff at the end of the last arc. This issue doesn't get to that immediately. We kind of just start off with kind of, Nightwing in his city. Things are bubbling over, right? And he's a bit stressed because he knows that all this stuff with the super high-tech police and spheric solutions and all that stuff's going on. And he's trying to let the gangs know not to act out and not to get into things. And he goes to give a warning to the people in charge, and leaves a big. He throws a Nightwing batarang, but it cracks the window in such a way that it makes a big Nightwing logo in the glass, which I just thought was a nice touch in the art. I was really enjoying those opening few pages.
Soy's having fun, and again, he is Bruce's son, right? It's not biological, but he was raised by Batman. He knows how to send a message.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, specifically it's the guy that's trying to become mayor who's got the corrupt background that he goes and does this message to. So yeah, we see one of the gangs are injecting themselves with stuff to turn into, it's like part Man-Bat, part Venom or something. I think Nightwing deduces based on what he sees. And he goes in to try and de-escalate that. Big fight sequence, gorgeous art. And then the ending of this, of course, is where the Nightwing Prime stuff comes in, because all of a sudden someone swoops in and takes care of some of this stuff and is floating above Nightwing at the end. Again, really great art. I love that panel of Nightwing in silhouette above Nightwing, Nightwing Prime's in silhouette, above Nightwing.
Yes.
And it's kind of really setting this up. And very quickly, as Nightwing tries to chase off on the rooftops, all of a sudden, Batman shows up. And then when Nightwing turns around, it's not just Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Martian Manhunter are also there, because hey, there's a Kryptonian power level character all of a sudden in Bloodhaven. It's time to have a chat about this. And I actually loved this conversation because it kind of did this thing where, okay, we have to step in and ask about this, but when Nightwing says, this is serious, he's not actually Kryptonian, it's a fifth dimension thing, don't worry about that side of it, but he's actually a scared young kid. If I need help, I'll call you guys, but I want to try and handle this myself. And Superman immediately just goes, that's good enough for me. You know where we are if you need us. But I love that. I love that Dick's got the sway with all of these characters for them to let him handle this. It's good stuff.
And I like that when Superman tells him, he's like, when I was his age, that's where I started to get my powers developing, and I understand how much of a time it is, but I wish I had someone around me to help me through it. So there's that aspect too, that he knows that Dick is going to do the right thing, and talk this boy down. So yeah, it is. He has the confidence from the heavy hitters of the Justice League. In Martian Manhunter showing up there too. I was like, oh yeah, they brought the big guns because they don't know what this kid can do. Yeah. So
there's a little tease as well as they're leaving through the boom tube at the end, where Jean turns around and he's like, "Wait a minute," and Wonder was like, "You okay?" And he's like, "I thought I saw." Nothing. And I love that because for a second I was like, wait, what's he talking about? What's he hinting at? And then I realized, oh, this is the Cirque du Sin stuff. This is the Zanny influence that he's sensing. But brushing off because he doesn't really know what it is.
It is so Lovecraftian in that, where there's just this heaviness that Jean might not be able to see it, but he can sense it. And he's like, oh, it's nothing. And you're like, oh, we were so close. Yeah. But there's just that build to anticipation. So,
Yeah, and I love that I didn't get it immediately. And then Nightwing and Batman have a little father-son kind of moment, and Batman's like, hey, Damian's been asking when you're coming back to Gotham to visit, and he's like, oh, I've got some stuff to take care of, but I'll be back as soon as I can. And he's like, oh, he'll be pleased to hear that. So it's just a nice little Batman Dick Grayson moment at the end.
Yeah.
So Nightwing goes and finds Nightwing Prime because he knows that he'll visit his brother's grave the next day. So he goes, and kind of surprising developments here where Nightwing Prime, or the boy really, is like, I've kind of realized that, I'm kind of scared of like hurting people with all these powers. So maybe I should give these up, right? And he's like, I've got a little thing in a canister here, a little like cure, it's a little fifth dimension thing, Yeah,
fifth dimension soup.
Yeah,
as he called it.
This will fix you right up and make you normal again. And he's like, I thought I could do good with these powers, but I'm constantly scared that I'm going to hurt someone, and maybe this is too much pressure to take. Blah 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 blah. So he's going to take it. Like, he's actually like, it's not even going to take that much convincing. The kid's ready to turn back to normal, but just before he's going to do it, he starts talking about like all the things that he thought he could do, like he could help, he could make things better, and he could be a hero. He doesn't want to be a problem for Nightwing. He doesn't want to be a burden to Nightwing with all these powers. And Nightwing just takes a moment at the end, and they're in the rain, it's all atmospheric, and he sort of puts his hand on his arm as he's about to drink this thing, and he's like, wait, you're going to need trained. And he's basically like, you want to do the right thing with these powers, I shouldn't stop you from doing that. I should teach you how to use them properly. Because fundamentally, as much as he's got all these powers, which makes it a little bit more dangerous and tougher in terms of like a control way, this kid's the age that Dick was, roughly, when he became Robin. So Dick should understand this kid wanting to do something, because Dick lost his parents and he had this energy inside him, and Batman helped him channel it. Should Dick be like saying to this kid, no, you can't be this? Or should he be helping him become what he once did, and like be there for him and help him channel it in a way that's healthy and so on? Now, it might backfire if this kid's got a temper later on, because if Dick Grayson at 14 threw a temper, it's like not a huge deal. Like, send him to his room. Like
he's backflipping out of the room with the grace of a dancer. This kid's putting a hole in the roof. Like,
this kid might like burn down half the city because he gets unleashed.
But I do like the fact that Dick, is the one's like, no, don't do it. It's gonna take training, and he's meeting this kid where he's at, right? Where he's given the kid agency, right? He's not just doing what Nightwing wants him to do. So I like that a lot, because that is in line with what happened with Dick and Bruce giving him agency and whatever, and this is just amplified because the kid's got Kryptonian powers.
I like that pivot, and I love the way this paid off in the writing, because at the start of the issue, the narration was like, oh, this is what I was afraid of, and he starts talking about the city and the corruption and so on, and how everything that they've done to like try and bring the city around with good people in place, and and the big roles is kind of been eroded now that his sister's been kind of run against, and everything that's been happening. But here, when he makes this choice to sort of say, no, I'll train you instead, kid, he says, this is what I was scared of. That line comes back. It's this idea that, oh, I was scared of like, that I would take this burden on. I was scared that this kid would convince me that I love the changing context of that line. But it's a fun little bit. I was scared that Bryce would make a good point. That's the kid's name that I obviously did not remember. That he taught me into letting them try to be a superhero, because it would, it would basically play on his feelings. It would tug on his heartstrings. But anyway, as he's hugging Bryce, right? He's hugging or I keep saying Superboy Prime, Nightwing Prime. He's hugging Nightwing Prime. The panels go close in to Nightwing's eye, like the white eye, and he's like his mask. And when you get close up, you just get this creepy ass reflection in the eye of the Zanny, looking demented, like, yes, this is all part of the plan for Nightwing to become a soldier of the Cirque du Soleil. And like, is this like him recruiting for his circus? Like, not that Nightwing knows he's doing that, but this is what the Zanny wants him to do, kind of thing.
It's like the pieces are falling into place for Zanny.
Yeah,
And,
Nightwing says in his narration, the sense that something just outside my periphery is evil. Like, yeah, just outside of your field of view.
Well, because Nightwing Prime had said something like that to Dick, where he goes, "I just feel like something wicked this way comes," and then Nightwing repeats that here with, he goes, I have this ache in the pit of my gut, the sense that something is outside my periphery. So they're both feeling it. Right. It's almost like something's trying to tell them, no, return things to normal. But, Nightwing's just trying to trust his gut, even though there's an ache there. You know?
But it's not this physical threat that's coming. It's this sort of unknown kind of force almost. Like it's kind of weird. And the final page, which is after this, is a separate scene of these two kids that are in their bedroom, and they're being drawn because basically they're talking about how the boy of the two, there's a boy and a girl. And the boy keeps having this dream of something, right? Something that he's been drawn to, and it's keeping him up. And at the end, you just sort of see them look out the window, and there's a big top. So there's this idea that the Cirque du Soleil's drawing people in, and the kid notably has Nightwing posters around. So it's almost like people who like Nightwing, like people who are fans of Nightwing, who are drawn to Nightwing, are now being roped into this zany Cirque du Soleil stuff.
Go running off to join the circus,
which is extremely malicious because you're kind of using the goodwill that Nightwing's built up in people and manipulating that into something that's going to pull them into something sinister, which is really perverse. It's, I love it. I love this villain. This is a really cool villain that Dan Waters has cooked up. Yes,
and you said kind of, but no, it definitely is malicious. He's doing this. He's corrupting the youth, right?
That's just my way of speaking. That's not
gotcha.
Anything else.
So, but yeah, seeing that big circus tent outside, and it's black and white, and it's the Zani's colors, right, that we've seen, and the kid asks, or the sister asks, what would Nightwing do? Even using that to manipulate him to go out and check it out. So
it's
man, no.
This is such a tight issue because the first third of it sets up the status quo in the city and everything going on with that side of things. And then it gets into the Nightwing Prime stuff, and what do we do about that? And we get all this good character stuff with the Justice League talking to Dick. And then the payoff, which we've been building up to since that stuff was brought up in the issue, is what Dick decides to do with Nightwing Prime, which is this kind of heartwarming, different direction than what we thought it was going to be. It's a good circumvention that makes sense given who the characters are. And then that leads into the sinister tease of the villain of the arc. And so this issue just, it hit all the points. It hit everything it needed to do, but it feels super focused the entire time. It flows really well. This is just really solidly crafted and put together in a way where, it doesn't feel like it's jumping to B plots and C plots to set things up, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's what a lot of books would do. This just feels like it naturally rolls on through. And it's only that last page with the two kids that's separate from everything else. Everything else has Nightwing in it. Everything else flows through him until that last page where we cut to innocent children who are going to be pulled into this. So great stuff. Well,
and I also like that the last two issues, right? It was two or three, where he was dealing with Nightmite and that whole thing in Titan's Tower.
3 issues, I think. Yeah.
3. Okay. I like how that took a break from the Zani stuff, so it wasn't right there in our forefront. So it can actually be pushed to our own periphery, right? And then we get reminded of it slowly as we get further into the issue. So again, it's just some really craftful writing, right? He's taking his time. I don't feel nothing's rushed. So
it's
man,
honestly impressive that, it's a bit bold to say that I think this run could rival Taylor's run already, but I think as far as villains go, I think the Zani does have I think I like the Zani more than Heartless now. Yeah. We'll see how it sticks to landing. It could change, but right now I feel there's more of an imposing threat.
Yeah, and I feel like they're both attacking Nightwing at his strongest point, right? For Heartless, it was the concept of his heart, and now he's kind of the heart of the DCU, right? He's central to kind of everybody. Look at the way the Justice League comes to him to talk in this issue. Right. With the Zani, though, it's more of his spirit of, his youth, and that, I don't want to say the circus aspect, right? But just that daredevil nature of his, kind of almost like a recklessness, this useful recklessness. And here I feel like it's almost been weaponized against him by allowing Bryce to make that decision. It's kind of what could go wrong? It's oh no, a whole lot. So
yeah, I feel like the disaster that's going to happen is probably going to have something to do with the Zanny's influence on Bryce. I feel like that's where, like, it's because if he's roping in these other kids, and technically Bryce is still a child, even though he doesn't look like one right now, I suspect that's where the tragedy of, like, where his powers are going to be used by something bad kind of thing is going to come in. But we'll see. I mean, it's a super intriguing story. Character writing's on point. The exercise art's always gorgeous. You know, so I have very little to complain about with this. Nightwing's on its second great run in a row. We had the Taylor run, now we've got the Dan Waters run, and both are
spoiled. Incredibly
high standard, yes. Yes, the caliber of dick that we have been getting recently has been bulging in quality.
God damn.
What are you giving Nightwing 130, Matt?
I'm gonna give this a 9.
Yeah, I think I'm there with you. I'm almost tempted to go 9.5, honestly. It's kind of like teetering on that level. But I'll say 9 out of 10. I'll be a little reserved. But excellent stuff. Loved it as per usual. Justice League Red, issue 2, Saladin Ahmed writing with Clayton Henry on the art. This was obviously the new book last month with its intriguing premise of Red Tornado doing sneaky Justice League stuff because he's worried that there's going to be a domino effect that leads to the destruction of everything in the future.
Yeah, I feel like Red Tornado is slowly becoming Skynet, and I don't like it. I don't trust Skynet, and I know Red Tornado, as we find out through this issue, there's very noble causes, but I don't buy that Red Tornado even buys what's going on.
Well, I
do like that Ahmed is playing with.
Well, that's the thing. I think it's still up in the air. Like, I think the characters are still constantly questioning, is Red Tornado doing something bad? Like, he's saying they're for good reasons, but it's hard to believe right now. So I think that skepticism is very much warranted. Like, has he gone off the deep end? Is a sinister force working through him, or has he just went crazy or evil, whatever? I think structurally, there's a smart kind of thing that he's doing, Ahmed, with this book, where, okay, we only got 2 characters in that first, outside of Red Tornado himself, we got 2 characters. We got Baz and we got Power Girl, right? This issue spends a good third to half the issue introducing our next character. Like, so Cyborg gets a good, solid introduction here, where he's breaking into this technology lab to steal this stuff, and it's a whole action sequence. He fights a big robot at one point, and it's all fun enough. But the reveal at the end of this is that as he's flying away and he's stolen this tech, is he basically realizes, based on the reportings, that he was lied to by Red Tornado. Red Tornado sent him on this mission, and it turns out that he just stole this for Red Tornado. He wasn't stealing it from villains who had something they weren't supposed to. He stole it from the rightful owners of this technology. So he ends up going up to the Red, what do they call it? The Red Tower. And meets up with Baz and Power Girl, and they realize, oh wait, you've been manipulated by this asshole too. And this is where they confront him about what they did in issue 1, which is they destroyed this thing which they were told was a weapon, but it was actually a big factory thing that had food for people in it.
Yeah, it was a food harvester. You know?
Like a robot style thing. So it's like, okay, now we have another character who's pissed at Red Tornado and wants the answers, and he's like, hey, look, I've already made sure that everyone thinks that it was a shapeshifter stealing this technology. No one's going to think you did something bad, Cyborg. He's like, yeah, but why are we doing this? Explain yourself. And he tries to explain the food harvester thing by saying, yeah, but that food was going to feed people that would lead to like a war, that would lead to this other planet invading, which would lead to cataclysmic stuff happening. So the domino effect is what you were stopping here. It's not that thing itself was inherently bad.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, we don't really trust you right now, though, so Power Girls, I'm staying behind right now, whilst these other 2 go off in this next mission. Because the next mission, while they're untrusting of them, they are seeing someone who needs help. Because Red Canary, who's the newbie, is being held captive right now and needs to be saved. So it's like, go and help her. It's like, okay, this at least looks like something good on paper right away. Although Power Girl, like I said, stays back to I'm keeping an eye on Red Tornado. I'm not going anywhere. So Cyborg and Baz go off to do that.
Yeah, and then there's a thing that Cyborg says, and this is what I like when they play with Cyborg, that he still is a person with all that equipment. And he says the same thing about Red Tornado. It's like, yeah, he's an android, but even without a body, he's still a person. And people make mistakes and people worry about things. And, so we, at the least we can do is try to keep this in check, right? Like, we just don't let him manipulate other people. That's the vibe I was getting from Cyborg here. So I do like that they point that out, that Red Tornado is doing all of this from this place of goodness, but there's still something that feels off.
Yeah.
And if they decide that they don't want to do this, who's going to keep that in check? So I do like they're taking that responsibility on here.
Yeah, so the two things here is that Baz and Cyborg go off to rescue Red Canary from the Church of Blood, who have got her. So they start fighting them.
An offshoot of them, which sounds super cool, like this super cult that's within the Church of Blood. So, and then she's got herself into trouble because she's still kind of new, which I do like, because she is. We don't know much about her. She's had like 2 or 3 appearances at this point. So,
and then the other thing is that Red Tornado shows Power Girl something that'll help convince her that they have to do what they're doing. And we don't get a lot of context for this. We're going to need more of an explanation next time. But the cliffhanger is that he opens a door and there's like a viewer, like a screen, and her parents are on it because they can see her live. It's like a Skype call, and they say Kara, and she's like Mom and Dad, and then that's the cliffhanger. So he's talking to like her parents from like an alternate. I don't know. Like, I mean, she's from a different Earth technically, but like I'm just. Yeah. What's the context of this live call? Should they not be dead?
Right, and they're holding a baby, right? Which I'm assuming is her.
Yeah, so it's from the past. They're from.
It's from the past.
Yeah.
But then if you look at the energy around them, those are those Kirby crackles.
That's
so again,
true.
I'm wondering if there's some of that dark side energy, that we're dealing with in Justice League Unlimited, at play here. So, and maybe that's what's messing with Red Tornado. To try to ice him out and keep him busy,
Well, that's assuming it's messing with him. Maybe it's not messing with him. Maybe what he is doing is actually completely on the up and up, but it's all related to what's going on with all the dark side universe stuff. Maybe it's going to tie into some of that eventually.
Yeah, maybe.
Tough to say.
But yeah, and then also I like the reason that he brought in Power Girl, because in her other job, right, she reports on technology and AI. So she is very knowledgeable too, so there's like this is almost like the cyber Justice League at this point. Because even Baz points out, he goes, I don't really know technology, but I do know engines and motors and stuff. So there is like this unifying thing with at least these first 3 that they do know machines. I mean, Cyborg is mostly one. So,
Red Canary is going to be the rookie on the team, seemingly. Yeah. Because we know she's going to join. So I'm very curious to see how that plays out. Still having a good time with it. I mean, Clayton Henry's art is perfectly fine. It's very. I mean, it's very clean, which is not a bad thing. But it does, there's definitely kind of a sort of simple cartoony look to some of the ways that he draws things. But there's not too much of his forehead problem that I've had in other books, and that's 2 issues now.
And 2 of these characters, especially Simon and Tornado, could easily fall victim to it.
Yes.
And I'm looking through the pages right now, and the proportions are all spot on. So I don't know, maybe Clayton Henry, if you are a listener, thank you for listening to the critiques.
Taking the feedback. I mean, and I think the action stuff, especially in that first half, because as much as I kind of glossed over the actual sequence of it, I do want to say that I think that pacing wise, it was really smart to just like focus on Cyborg for a couple of scenes where he's doing something and we can get in his head. So that it feels like, and I hope they do the same with Red Canary, like next issue or whenever they do it. I hope she gets like maybe she explains how she get kidnapped and we get like a good few pages of her on her own, to like give each member of the team a bit of a good introduction. Because so far I think that's been a strong like structure to the book. So it's a very pleasant read, honestly. I'm curious to see where they're going.
Very
with
much
it.
so. And because she was investigating the series of ritual murders with this offshoot, right? So I would like to see some of that. I would like to see it instead of just being told about it.
I think we will. I think we'll see a little bit of it, and we can see how she operates on her own, and maybe what she's going to bring to the team. Maybe she's the more detective-y one out of the group. Yeah. Perhaps.
Yeah.
So, curious. All right, what are you giving Justice League Red issue 2?
Even though we just really praise it, the score is going to seem like it's a bit low, but it was decent. So I'm going to give it 7.5.
Oh, that seems low. I mean, I don't think we were overly praised. I think it's a good book. I'm liking the vibe of the team dynamic that Ahmed's got going so far. They feel like they're saying logical things to each other, and they're like thinking about what they're doing in the right way. So I'm enjoying like kind of the build to the team becoming a team. So yeah, I think 7.5 sounds fair. I wouldn't quite call it great. Maybe if the art was like spectacular, I would tip it over. Yeah. But like I'm definitely down to keep reading it though. It was a pleasant time. Too. Batman Superman World's Finest 43. Mark Waid writing with Adrián Gutiérrez and Sean Izaakse on the art. This Bizarro arc is over. It's done.
Thankfully.
Yeah. I mean, it's perfectly fine. I just, I sat down to read this. It's definitely the one that felt most like a chore out of every book that I read this week. No contest really. And it's perfectly fine. It just kind of feels so fluffy and like, obviously I don't really like Bizarro speak that much and like all the science logic that I'm sure Mark Waid's excited to think about, but he's like, because the core of this Bizarro planet does this, it means this happens instead. And of course Bat Bizarro would make something that's like this because it's the opposite of what he would do or what I would do. I don't know, like all that stuff is just kind of like tiring at this point. Like I'm just not that excited by a bunch of Bizarro logic.
So I realized that I like the character Bizarro in relation to the regular DC universe when he's the imperfect clone of Superman. And he means well, but he's just kind of like this big oaf that sometimes causes more problems. When you give him an entire culture that's double negative and backwards, it's a chore. And yeah, so the fact that we're done with this, I'm happy. That said, we got a couple of gems like Bizarro Bibbo being a chemist instead of a bartender, right? Like at least Wade's playing with a little bit of fun there, that. But yeah, if I never have to think about double negative and this actually means that, I'm fine. Like I don't need to go to Bizarro World ever again,
Yeah, I'm not super high on the Bibbo, like the Bizarro Bibbo stuff, just because I'm like, at a certain point, I'm not excited by a Bizarro version of every goddamn character. And by the time we're getting to Bibbo, like we're going pretty far down the ladder.
Yeah.
At that point. So I don't know. I wasn't excited by any of that. I was kind of just over it the whole time. I was kind of like, okay, I'm just reading this to get it read so that it's done. At least the next issue, which is going back to some Supergirl Robin like attempts at a date, sound like it could be fun. Yeah. So, that's something. It ends up being Robin who has the idea to expand the planet to help with the core like getting stronger.
Expanding.
Because he's chewing bubble gum and that gives him the idea to do that, which, fine, I guess. There's some stuff with Superman and Bizarro having to fly around the core really fast to try and stabilize it. I'm not even going to try to worry about the science of that. But
no, it feels like they're definitely using the Superman the movie logic, right? Where they're flying fast enough to create enough, whatever to contain it. Versus in the movie, he's able to spin back time for whatever reason.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's the same logic, Matt. They're very different things.
Well, not the same logic, but I feel like that's what they're paying homage to.
Sure, the visual of flying around the sphere fast. Yeah. Yes, I get that part. But,
but just, and then they introduced it's Bizarro Crypto, and he's the one that adds a little bit enough of theirs. Like you said, you called it fluffy, and I love Crypto. Don't get me wrong, I love when Crypto shows up. But I was just like, this is just more things here in this. And it ultimately doesn't matter to the plot of anything. So I feel like they're just staying busy to get through the rest of the arc. But yeah, at least these arcs are like, what, three issues across? So we're not having to spend too much time around in them. And if it keeps Waid out of the weeds, and he gets to dump all of his stuff here so he can make everything else sing, then, I guess that's a sacrifice that I'll keep reading. I'll keep taking this to get the rest of the stuff.
I mean, yeah, I guess. I'm just kind of underwhelmed by everything really when it comes to this book at this point. They try and do a little thing at the end where like Bat-Zaro and Bizarro are like questioning, should we take this cure? Because the rest of the world's all turned back to normal Bizarro style, and they're still smart and like, do we take this cure? Is there any downsides to it? And so they go for this sweet moment where they're friends, and it's whatever. There's also a kind of a poignant moment earlier on where I think Robin's asking Bat-Zaro, like, you know, you're super smart and you're the smartest person on the planet right now. Why would you want to give that up? Like, why would you want to go back to being dumb? And Bat-Zaro just says, I was happy. And Robin's like, damn. Like, because it's almost like, yeah, it's kind of because like this idea that Batman's not happy ever because he's Batman. It's like, it almost feels like that's kind of proving the point. It's a bit more nuanced than that, obviously, in reality, but
of course,
it's a fun little sort of moment in terms of concept. Other than that, I don't have much to say. Obviously, the art's solid. I just, you know, I'm just so over the Bizarro world stuff, and I was over it before this arc started. So this arc just like, was kind of a tedious thing to get through. The only little bit of relief I had is that because I was sick the week the first part of this arc came out, I got to read issues like the last 2 issues back to back, so it was quicker for me at the very least. Yeah, but that's all I've got to say, really.
Yeah. You know, I do like that sweet moment at the end, and I do like the way I think this is Gutierrez's art, because it switches over to Izaakse at a certain point. I think it's most of the Superman stuff with Bizarro going around the core. So I think by that point we're back to Gutierrez, and you know, just Bat-Zaro and Bizarro, you know, and that 6-panel breakdown. You know, and there are some really nice, sweet, poignant moments where they're staring at each other and they decide to take the serum to return back to normal. You know, so there's a lot being said in those, you know, it's just 2 of them, right? But the body language is there with the speech bubbles working well. So, you know, it's not all bad. And again, I wouldn't say this is bad, but it is a chore because it was one that I was like, I guess I got to get through this. So, but yeah. I'm curious to see where this book goes now because I don't remember the Solicits. So after the date stuff, I'm wondering where, you know, what's next for Waid with Superman and Batman, and what other Silver Age things he can play with at this point.
Yeah, I mean, the book's obviously still there in December, so I mean, it's probably going to go up to issue 50. I wonder if that's where they cap it and cut it off. Which is
oh, that's right. That's the Joker. That's the Joker and Luthor stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy. Okay. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. But may as well make it quick. Matt, what are you giving World's Finest?
I'm gonna give this a 6.
5.5.
There you go.
I won't go into negative territory and go under the 5, but I also feel very little for this stuff. So hopefully the next issue is fun. I don't know. Like the idea of like, should I just drop it? I don't know. At this point, I'm like, it can't be that much left now. I might as well stick it out to the end. But I like, you know, of course, now that I've said that, it'll go to 150 issues just to spite me.
Yeah, just Mark Waid in perpetuity.
No matter what else he's doing, and no matter how good the other stuff he's writing is, we'll just have this mediocre World's Finest book just chugging along in the background forever now.
So I also have to laugh at this right now. So when we talk about the books, I open up the League of Comic Geeks page about it, and that's where I look for the covers and who worked on it and what characters are here. Sean Isaac's profile picture on League of Comic Geeks is him wearing a Marvel hat, and I just think that's funny. Like, so, yeah, just wanted to mention that.
Not a surprise. Anyway, Batman and Robin, Year 1, Issue 11, Mark Waid writing with Chris Samnee on the art. I love how Batman and Robin Year 1 and World's Finest always say it would come out in the same week, because it's like, here's the worst of Mark Waid, and then here's the best of Mark Waid. And Batman and Robin Year 1 being the best of Mark Waid, because this book is phenomenal.
I I hope you don't read them back to back because you will get whiplash.
I think I did this week actually, but I mean I don't always.
Oof. How you feeling? You all right? Your neck feel nice?
Neck's a bit sore, but other than that,
checks out.
So yeah, I mean, last issue, Bruce got arrested, Dick got taken away to put into child services or whatever. So a little bit of time has passed. It's been a few days, and Bruce has been let out of prison or jail. We start off with him just quietly in disguise, walking to a secret bat bunker in the city. Alfred's there, and we kind of like, okay, they had trouble keeping him locked up because while we have a lot of fake, imposters working for Clayface and Two-Face. Once the feds were called in for due rights, they couldn't really, they don't have all that infiltrated yet. Eventually they might, but right now there's still enough people higher up the food chain that they couldn't just hold Bruce Wayne forever. So he's out. He's dressed as Batman, and we also have Clayface and Two-Face talking about what they're doing. We have one of the Clayface clones starts to break down in front of Batman. And that's actually the two things that stick out to me about this issue is one, the sadness of all these people who have been turned into Clayface type characters who don't know that they're just on a ticking clock until they die. And this first one that turns round and tries to throw a punch at Batman, but he starts to just deteriorating as he's turning to the point where he's just sort of saying I trusted him. It's really sad. It's really somber and kind of sobering. I don't know. It's really well done.
Well, and it's the way that Samnee draws Batman and then the Clayface guy, right? And it's the way that he looks up and there's the eyes full of sadness.
Yeah.
That says, I trusted him. And the way the panel above that with Bruce taking a step back and he's even taken by surprise, right? So there's just this whole big emotional wallop here.
I think the other thing for me,
he wasn't even expecting this.
Yeah, the other thing for me is at the end of that scene where once he's finally properly faded away, it's like a cloud of dust or smoke, just around Batman, and it just it just kind of feels really sad that he's evaporated into nothing. Basically, he's just dust at that point. And later on, when Batman's going to actually fight. Well, he still thinks it's Grimaldi. Batman doesn't know about the whole switcheroo yet. That he finds out about that later in the issue. But when he's trying to get to Grimaldi and he's taking on all of the henchmen who have all been turned into Clayface type monsters, is that he effectively punches one and they just disintegrate, and he's like, shit, I can't really fight these guys. They're just going to instantly die. And I really like that. And it's because one is technically Batman didn't kill anyone there because he was going to disintegrate anyway. It just happened a bit quicker because he punched him. But two, even if you argued that he did technically kill this guy, I don't think it doesn't change Batman's character because he didn't intend to. For one, his reaction once it's happened immediately is, "Oh God, I can't fight these people. I can't be responsible for their deaths." His reaction is appropriate. So he's still very much got his morals and his ideals all in the right place. But that's kind of what makes it so sad is that all these people start just falling apart as he's getting to the bad guy. And it's wait, did he not? It even brings up the point: did he not stagger these people getting turned? Did he do it at the same time? Because why are they all falling apart in one big swoop?
At the same time?
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, and I feel like that's going to be the key that when Bruce puts it together, that it's not Grimaldi anymore, that he's been swapped out.
Well, he knows by the end
because Grimaldi. Yeah. But this was the key part of it, right? Because Grimaldi was everything by the book, right? He was set things by a stopwatch and was very careful with everything. So I feel like this was the first piece of it to go. In that scene where he's fighting them and he goes to stop and he tells them to stop and he goes, he's just using you. And the one guy turns into a clay monster and is like, well, that's the job. Get him. Just the way that Samnee does the art where Batman's trying to be elusive, right? He's no longer, the stance isn't like he's coming towards them. He's ducking and dodging and weaving and trying to preserve these guys. So again, it's just storytelling across the board and why Waid and Samnee work so well together.
Yeah. Maybe in the small hope, because I think he's even brought something that might be a reversal for the process, but they're just not taking it. They don't believe him. So he's trying to not obviously speed anything up. It just, yeah, the whole thing is just kind of tragic. And then the other main thing of this issue, so you've got the tragedy of all the Clay henchmen kind of like dying effectively, and then the other side of it is that when Batman and Alfred go to check out where Dick is, he's been placed with a foster family. They're, Batman's like, hey, he looks happy. This seems like a healthy place for him. Maybe we should leave him here. He doesn't belong with me. I'm no father. This life that I was putting him into, he should be here. He seems happy. And Alfred's the one that actually argues, no, like, he does belong with us. And Bruce's argument that this seems better for him falls away completely because he doesn't see it. But at the end of the scene, after Batman stopped looking, Dick goes to the other bedroom, and it's like all the happiness when he's with the foster parents. Not so much that he was necessarily faking it, maybe he is, but it's more so much that it's taking so much energy for him to act like a normal child and be happy. As soon as he gets behind the door, he just slumps against it, and he's kind of like, he's clearly like missing the life that he was having before. He's not happy in this situation. So that's a good tease. And I kind of saw where this was going to go, but I didn't think it was going to happen by the end of this issue. I thought it was going to be like the next issue where we're going to get the big moment that kind of happens at the end of this one. But that sets stuff up for later. Batman goes to rescue Gordon and some of the others that have been replaced with the Clay duplicates. And then that's when he gets into all the fights with the various Clay men, if you will. Before he finally gets to what he thinks is Grimaldi. But then he turns into Clayface. Batman gets tased from behind after Grimaldi always starts turning. And that's Two-Face, and it's like, hey, didn't you know that the attacks could come from two sides, Batman, just to keep the whole theme of two going?
Duality. And Alfred had told him to come back and rest because he was, he's under a lot of psychological, effort going on here because of all these guys turning into clay dust around him, right? He's upset about losing Dick, right? And so he's just not at his 100%. So when Two-Face gets the drop on him, I was like, oh my God, if only Robin was here with him, And I do love that that's kind of the point, is like, do this Batman and Robin year one, is that he went from believing he didn't need a partner to now it's almost like he's not reliant, but it's having a second set of eyes and ears and another person it allows him to be a better Batman. So I like all of that.
Yeah, when he was watching Dick earlier in the house, he said, Batman started solo, I'll return to being solo. That's the way to do this. And, like you say, Two-Face shocks him, Clayface picks him up and throws him out the window, and he's falling. And I actually thought this was going to be the cliffhanger, was just him falling. I wasn't expecting the next 2 pages, because the very next page, you actually see a hand grab his hand, it swoops away, and then the final panel is Robin's here, Robin saved him from falling to his death. Because as Batman's falling, like, he does have narration where he's like, grapple, like he's trying to like force himself to do what he would normally do, but he's too out of it. And he basically, in his narrations, like, mother, father, I'm sorry. He's making peace with the fact that he's dying. And then Robin grabs his hand, saves his ass, and he's like, you did this alone? Are you insane? Cliffhanger, right? So it's like one thing that the relationship kind of like mended halfway through the book. That was kind of like the end of the first half of the story, was them getting to a better place where they were starting to trust each other. And it feels like by the end of the story here is this idea of like, oh no, I need Robin in my life, for if not for literally saving my ass, but it's healthy for me and all these other things. And so it was a good cliffhanger. It's kind of, I hate to say something's reminiscent of Batman Forever and say it in a positive light, but there is kind of a similar visual in Batman Forever where Robin like pulls him out of the dirt or whatever it is, and he's got his hand. I couldn't help but think of that a little bit. There's been no boiling acid yet, but
no. But we do have Two-Face. We do have them learning to be a team. You introduced Chase Meridian here, and I would say it's definitely influenced. No Chase, so
it's it's not influenced. And this is much better than Batman Forever, to be clear. This is like head and shoulders above that movie.
I will talk about how much I enjoy Batman Forever. I would not say it's good. And how Batman and Robin year one, though, very good. great even. So yeah, just when Two-Face showed up, and I was just like, oh man, if only Robin, and because I was expecting it to come in the next issue, that'd be the big huge part.
I mean, I like I was saying, I thought literally as he was falling to his death, that was the last page, and I was surprised that there was another page where you actually saw the save. But it still kind of works though, because it's like setting up, what they're going to do next. I just thought it was going to be next issue starts with the hand grabbing him kind of thing. Yeah. But no complaints. Like I think the sadness of all these like Claymen dying does actually have some weight to it. Bizarrely, there's some impact here of just how disposable Clayface and Two-Face are treating all these men. And then the story with Robin and like, should Dick even be with us anymore? And like ultimately, no, he ended up saving your ass. Maybe there is a place for him here. So very good. And
I like one of the things that Alfred tells Bruce as they're talking about that, and he goes, "Well, no, Master Bruce is like, you need him as much as he needs you. Like you're trying to convince yourself that he doesn't need you, but that's not true." So I do like that. Even Alfred realizes at this point that. Bruce needs that camaraderie, even if it's from this kid, right? Thoroughly enjoyed this issue.
Yep. All right, what are you rating Batman and Robin year 1?
I'm going to give it a 9.
Yep, I agree. 9 out of 10. Fantastic issue, fantastic book. We just have one issue left, finale next month, so we'll see how that goes. The New Gods, issue 10, Ram V writing with Evan Cagle and Simon Parr on the art. So there's actually only 2 issues of this left as well. So Batman and Robin year 1's ending next month. This will be ending in November. Definitely feels like there is a few books naturally ending anyway before this big, new slate of books in March that we keep hearing about. So, yeah, Joe, it's weird. This is a solid issue, all right? Enjoying the story. I think this might be the most normal comic book issue out of the entire series.
Absolutely. Down to the split in the art, it didn't feel like it was doing what we came to expect from New Gods. I don't want to call it a gimmick, because a gimmick makes it feel cheapened, but it wasn't doing the guest artist opening and then Cagle taking over the rest. It was just split down the middle. But I still think that they made it work. I wonder how this is gonna go in 2 issues, because it feels like there's still so much that Ram V had set up and for it to pay off, and we've gotten away from the Nectari for so long now and shifted to Max Lord, and now we're back to the Nectari by the end of this one. I'm shocked that there's only 2 left.
Yeah, it was always planned as 12 though, so it's not like he's like struggling to I need to finish this quickly now because they've cancelled it. It was always meant to be 12, so the flashback at the start is actually a little bit of Seraphin's childhood and the Forever People, and like him being obsessed with movies and cowboys and stuff like that.
So I learned this. I did a deeper dive on Seraphin, and the original origin of the Forever People were that they were humans taken from Earth at different time periods, and it was an experiment by Highfather to see if they could turn these humans into New Gods. Right. So that's what made them stand out. So when he's looking here and he's looking at the kid and he starts having these reservations, what we'll see, having that context helped me out a little bit. But here it even shows that he has this idea of what lightness and darkness is through the realm of TV, the things that he's watching, the Vietnam War, the cowboy movies. It looks like he's watching The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly here, which is very much about the duality of man. So, really cool of Ram V to throw that in without, not everyone's going to jump in and research like I did, but just the fact that he uses this character in this way, it is kind of perfect for the issue.
Yeah, it kind of emphasizes that everyone just keeps saying, he's only Seraphin, he's harmless, so that's kind of the attitude that the others have about him. So obviously the fact that he's the one who's infiltrated the New Gods and taken the kid, although he does have some problems with what Maxwell Lord and the others are going to do, because he's like, wait, you're working with like people from Apocalypse and doing dark side shit? I didn't agree to that. So that we get a little bit of a conflict there between them. However, Desaad like uses his powers to break his finger, which is just a fun little visual of like him pointing and his finger just kind of cracks in the middle. But it's the most common or normal sort of generic style comic issue, and that's not. I don't say that as a, like a knock against it per se. It's just
dig, yeah.
It's just that, there's kind of this otherworldly like epicness to a lot of these issues and how they've opened and how big they feel. Whereas this one, it felt like, we get past the little intro of Seraphine's backstory, and it felt like a really normal, like, the different groups of characters talking about what's going on, and here's what the plan is, and what to do. So it just felt a lot more normal, right? So it's not that it's not fun. It's not, like Barda and Orion and Wonder Woman going off to investigate this Maxwell Lord facility where they might be, and then running into the Furies and having a fight. That's all perfectly fine, but it's very normal comic book stuff, as opposed to the bigger, larger than life kind of feeling that a lot of these issues have had. So, and that's all good. The other side of it is that they're investigating this giant black hole that's kind of weird because it's not acting like a normal black hole, and there might be something on the other side. What are they communicating with or trying to bring through? I do wonder if this is going to be like tying into, if not absolute stuff, then certainly something in continuity that's more of a line-wide thing than just this book. Yeah.
He's definitely tipping his hand towards something, because the mystery of what's on the other side, because they talk about maybe a mirror universe. No one's ever made it through a black hole to confirm that or not, right? And it looks like Mr. Miracle and what's his name now, Oathkeeper, Orion, are heading towards it.
Just call him Orion. Yeah. You said Oathkeeper. I'm like, who the hell's Oathkeeper? Yeah. Like, Orion.
So looks like they're heading in there. So we'll find out what goes from there. But yeah, I love seeing Barda and Wonder Woman back to back to fight the Furies. And they've done this type of stuff before, and just the stuff that between them, the dynamics there. Like you said, it's more of a traditional superhero stuff. So I do feel like if that was the intent from Ram V with this issue, with how we're introduced to Seraphine and the whole concept of good and evil, right? And Seraphine's doing this because you'd assume what happened with him in his past is let the kid kind of decide, because once he realizes that Darkseid might be involved, he definitely changes it, So he's not even part of that good evil spectrum. He was looking out for himself there. So maybe again, that's what Ram V is going for with this more traditional superhero kind of storytelling versus that big epic scope that we've gotten with the New Gods. And I will say too, I think we talked on the last one, this is the same artist from the last issue. What's his name? What would you say it was?
Evan Cagle's been in most of the issues, if not all of them.
But isn't Cagle the up front? Wasn't he the Seraphine story?
I mean, he may be in this one, but he's been like the one that's been there every issue.
But I think I'm talking about the one that's the guest one, the one that's doing the Max Lord stuff. Because Cagle's definitely the Seraphine part of the story.
Simon Parr's the other artist on this issue.
Yes, thank you. I was looking for the name and it wasn't. I couldn't scroll fast enough back up. But I would still say his art's still not to my taste. Like, it's not bad by any means, but like some of the faces, like Max Lord and Seraphine, I feel like they have these big, huge, strong jaws, right? And it almost gives them a caricature kind of vibe. And then you look at Desaad where it fits just a little bit more because he's super creepy. But yeah, that would be my main takeaway from the art, is it's just kind of not my taste, but it's not bad. So I just kind of wish it was more Cagle. But yeah,
that's fair. I think this was a solid enough, but it very much felt like a setup issue that is a lot more typical superhero-y stuff than it normally is, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's not necessarily what I was expecting, because I usually sit down and this is kind of like making me think a little bit more, I guess, than what this issue did. The big cliffhanger at the end, though, is that the Nectaris show up around Earth, or over Earth. So, the big fighting's coming. Last two issues are bound to be action-packed as a result. And I don't know if they were trying to say that the ship with the kid and, like, the Desaad and Maxwell Lord on it. I don't know if they were trying to say that actually went into the black hole, or it just they just sort of went. That's where they teleported to. I'm not through the boom tube, but I'd be curious to see if they did go through there, and if so, like, are we going to see them again, kind of thing. You feel like these characters are still going to try and get the kid back, since that's the main goal right now, but we'll see.
Well, and the fact it's the brothers, right? It's Orion and it's Mr. Miracle, and what they what their childhoods were like, right, where they were swapped and whatever. So them going back to save Kamal, this kid, too. I like that thread as well. That I feel like they're gonna do whatever it takes to get that kid back.
For sure.
Yeah. So just again, Ram V, one of our top writers out there, spinning these stories, and this is the most I've ever been invested in the New Gods. In fact, like, I'm definitely looking into getting DC Infinite to go back and try to read some of the more classic stuff, because it is a blind spot. Like, I'm familiar with the themes and what Kirby was doing there, but through all of these characters, like when we found out of the Archer character, right, all those issues ago, all that stuff was in Kirby's. So just Ram V going through and knowing how to adapt these characters to now and how to make them fit within DC, it just drives my interest in it that much deeper. So yeah.
All right, what are you giving the New Gods issue 10?
I'm gonna give this a very hesitant 8.
A hesitant 8. Yeah. I think, I'm not in love with the other artist on this issue. It's not terrible, but like I think for me it probably does drop below that 8. I think I'm probably good at 7.5, which, given how high I've rated a lot of the issues of this book, does feel like a bit of a pivot. But I also think even just the story of this issue, like we say, feels a lot more like generic comic book versus what the book usually is. And I kind of get why, to just set things up, maybe it needed an issue like this, but it does make it inherently less spectacular or exciting than what has come before. So 7.5.
Okay.
All right. Okay, cool. The Batman, Second Night, issue 1, Dan Jurgens writing with Mike Perkins on the art. So this is a sequel to the first Night, which we got about 2 years ago, maybe a little bit less than that.
About.
Yeah. Same artist on it as well, with Mike Perkins. World War II is kicked off. America's not joined in yet, but they're talking about Nazis getting into Poland and stuff like that, and those subjects are coming up. But the plot of this book is that there is a serial killer with an executioner-style hood who's going after good people in Gotham. And what do I mean by good people? Well, the targets we find out about, the first one we see is like someone who helps a soup kitchen for the poor, but we also have a doctor, like a nurse, and like other people who are in like good roles, who do things for people.
Yeah, they're making Gotham a better place.
Yes. Yeah, so the victim at the start, this soup kitchen guy, he is tied like to the giant like bell in the clock tower. He is tied to the actual, I don't know what you even call it, like the actual ringer inside the shell. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, he's in that piece that rings against there to make the sound.
Yes. So basically what happens is that when the executioner decides to ring the bell, it just kind of like splats him against the inside of the shell of the bell. Super dark, and it really paints it as like, okay, 1939, we're doing this noir serial killer type story with this character who's going about killing people, and it's like really got the city into a tizzy of fear. Gordon's doing like a radio show in one of the early scenes, and they're asking him about this Batman. He's like, I've not seen him in a while, but it's not like we can just call upon him, which to me feels that we're setting the seeds for the Signal becoming a thing by the end of the arc.
There's a scene where one of the characters says, point that light over there, and I thought we were getting to it, to send us, we're going to make a message out of this. Yeah. And I was like, oh, we were that close.
I feel like the fact that even put a searchlight into a later scene is also teasing, the back signal or something akin to it's going to be a thing. But no, obviously the art and all this stuff is gorgeous. All this serial killer stuff, just beautiful, like dark Perkins, super inky. Great. Yeah,
it fits the time period too, because when we get to the Bruce and Julie stuff in Wayne Manor, it feels like Technicolor. Like just the way that Perkins' shadows hit with. Is he doing his own colors here? Let me check.
Oh, I don't know.
No, it's Mike Spicer. With the way that it's working with Spicer's colors, it gives it that old like 30s, 40s movie kind of vibe, and it really sets the tone that you're reading something from that era.
Yeah,
you know.
And I always appreciate it's a smart move, I think, to start off a book. You know, when you've got a new book or new arc, is to start off with a tease of the villain first, because we actually get a lot of pages. Gordon comes to the crime scene, and we have these other like uniformed policemen talking about this crime, and they basically say, "Hey, Commissioner, see, I think it's maybe time to." Maybe this is one of the cases to bring in him. Like, this is one of the weird ones. Do we not need the Batman? And it's after that where we finally cut to a full page spread of Batman on a rooftop with these, you know, super old school curved ears outfit, gorgeous artwork. Again, Mike Perkins is
perched like a gargoyle.
Oh, for sure.
And just the blues, the blues and the purples, grays, greens, like it's all just,
Yeah, and some of this early stuff with him is just re-establishing things that were already in the last book. One is the brothel that he goes to, where there's that one prostitute that he goes to for intel, and the guy that runs it, who he threatens and makes sure that he's not, you know, being bad to the girls and all that, and says, hey, she's got the rest of the week off, or, you know, I'm Batman, I'm going to give you hell, basically. So he's not very happy about that. But again, art there's very good. And then the other thing is that Batman goes to the synagogue with the rabbi character that was introduced in the last arc. And I think what stuck out to me about this is that he's there because he's trying to ask about, I think the victim that we saw in the bell happened to go to the synagogue, and that's why he's heard the name from the police, so he's coming here to ask about who this person is. But he basically scares the rabbi's wife. And I thought it was very interesting that Batman does get really apologetic here and kind of says, you're right, I shouldn't be sneaking in here and scaring the shit out of you two. Because, you know, I consider you a friend, I shouldn't be doing that. I thought it was just a really interesting dynamic for Batman to be this kind of apologetic. Because I think the wife even refers to him as, oh, you look, you know, you're in black leather like the Gestapo. And which obviously, it's 1939, so that's a very on the, you know, nose reference at the time.
And the fact that we were established like that this rabbi knows what's going on over there, right? Because him and Batman have that discussion.
Yes.
And so definitely this is Jurgens reminding us of that. And it just does it in a very good way where, you know, Batman is very pragmatic here with that, where he feels more human, right? Like this is just a guy that dresses up like a bat and goes through, you know, and I almost feel like if it wasn't for keeping his identity a secret, would have taken off his mask to make her feel better, you know? And that's a lot coming in from just like a couple panels, right? So that's Jurgens and Perkins working really great together.
And this is how the rabbi finds out this guy's dead, because it's not like a public thing yet. So he's like obviously shocked to hear about it. And then we get back to the executioner, who is like, you know, doing his thing. He's going back to his lair or whatever. And there's someone in the shadows who's like, oh, you've been terrifying this city, blah, blah, blah. And I think most people who know Batman characters are going to like guess who this is before it reveals it. But this turns out to be a Scarecrow story, because Scarecrow is there and he's like, oh, you've been whipping this city into a frenzy. And he does release some Scarecrow gas, which starts making the Executioner. I'm calling him that because he's got an Executioner hood on. We don't have a name for him yet.
And he's wearing a noose like a tie.
Yes.
You know, there's definitely some visual aesthetic going on there. But he releases it to him. And Perkins drawn Scarecrow. Match made in heaven.
It's really cool, but it's also a really old school Scarecrow. This is not your like modern like Tynion the Fourth run where he's given like the Freddy Krueger hands or whatever. This is like sort of it's like really creepy and dark, but in the very kind of old school kind of Scarecrow style.
Yeah, he very much looks like the Scarecrow from Wizard of Oz, which would be out right at that point. And he still kind of he doesn't have the full Freddy Krueger fingers, but he has gloves that have the claws on them. Yeah. Right. So there's still some things that tie to that. And
also I want to point out that on the second page with Scarecrow, like, because everything around Scarecrow is this sort of yellow color with the gas around him. There is one panel of the Executioner who's got a purple hood, and that purple just really pops because the rest of the page is this yellowy, slightly green color. So the coloring is very on point, where it's really sticking out, and the expressions and the executioner's eyes, like looking terrified, like really good stuff. So it's like, okay, so we've got this new villain, and we've got Scarecrow who's going to use this new villain to do stuff. So, but I was, like, we've not had a ton of Scarecrow recently. So I was kind of excited to get some more Scarecrow here.
Yeah. Well, and I like this old-timey Scarecrow too.
Yeah.
Right? I like the way he fits into this Gotham. It is a time of heightened fear with World War II, right? It's on the cusp that's happening. The cops are talking about them, did you hear they're going to reinstitute the draft? And they're like, well, I'm not going back. I fought in the last one. That was supposed to be the war to end all wars. So there's this tense sense through the city, through the police, through the guys that lived through the last one, and Scarecrow's just very appropriate for this time period.
Yeah, so the next scene is another returning character from the first story, which was the actress Julie, who Bruce had sort of gotten close with, and so they don't actually reveal it right away here, but I was like, didn't she like learn he was Batman? Because I felt like she did, and then they do answer it like after a little bit. It's almost like she doesn't want to talk about that side of him until he says, oh, my nights have been busy, and she's like, oh, when you're him kind of thing, or because you're nightlife. So, but yeah, I was remembering that correctly. Although after he picks her up at the train station, because she's scared of flying, which is why she didn't fly, they do walk past a Haley Circus poster.
They do?
Just pointing that out. I don't know if that's going to lead to anything, but...
No, but it clearly also says the Flying Graysons on there.
That's true. Maybe he's going to do something with that.
Foreshadowing, maybe?
But it's only a 3-issue series. I know they're big issues, but like the fact that it's not happened by the end of this issue makes me think maybe it's asking for a bit much.
There's a revelation at the end of this issue that I'm wondering how they're going to pull off. And I'm wondering if that's the swerve. But we'll get to there at the end.
Well, I mean, the very next, like the end of this scene, we see that someone's following Julie, a woman who's trying to call into her boss. And she's clearly a reporter of some kind. Now, my mind goes to someone very specific. Now, they try and like mislead you here because her boss is someone named, I don't know, was it Mr. Taylor?
Where's it at?
Right? Mr. Taylor.
Yeah.
She calls her boss Mr. Taylor as if that's going to throw me. And I'm like, this is Lois Lane. I know it's Lois Lane. Don't try and bullshit me.
She's wearing a purple ascot and her eyes are purple. It's Lois. Purple is her color, right? Like, and I'm just going, I'm like, okay, are we doing a kind of a Vicky Vale thing here, right? Initially, right? It's a reporter, they're following Gotham, she's trying to get a lead on Bruce or whatever, or not on Bruce, but on Julie, maybe there's this thing, and then at the end it's revealed to be Lois. They keep mentioning how strong this executioner character is. So again, it's Jurgens. Are we getting Superman in this universe by the end of this? Right? Is he going to be the one to help Batman overcome?
I mean, if they've introduced Lois, I don't think it's out of the realm to think Superman's an eventuality. Now, is he going to be in this arc? That's another question. Because they could, I mean, as much as you could say, oh, well, they've introduced Lois, they have to introduce Superman by the end of it. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think what they could be doing here is they introduce Lois, and then in a year's time, we get Superman, The First Flight, or whatever they would call like the Superman miniseries that ties into this. I could see them doing that, right? And he's not appeared in the world yet. But no, that said, though, I'm not saying it's impossible. It's entirely possible it shows up in issue 3 of this.
Yeah, so when I saw the Flying Graysons thing, I was like, oh, are they setting up Robin, right? That he's going to need a partner. Because they also make it known that when Julie's talking to Bruce, how lonely his house is, because it's just him. True. Because he can't trust anybody else, right? So I'm like, maybe we're gonna lead to,
See, I was
Dick Grayson type.
Yeah, I was thinking that was going to set up some sort of Alfred. I guess, but that's what I was thinking. Well, but I can see what you're saying.
It could be that too. And then by the time we get to Lois and where that goes, which we'll get to, I'm sure. I don't want to overstep anything. I was definitely thinking that Batman, Bruce, whoever needs a partner character. There's 2 villains here, whatever.
Maybe, Lois does get a lady boner, though. As much as she's here to follow Julie, as soon as she looks down at the Gotham Gazette and she sees like stories about the Batman, she gets a lady boner. She's like, oh, I can crack this. This is the story right here. So yeah, I mean, Batman or Bruce and Julie have a scene at the mansion where she's like talking about how it's a mess and how he doesn't have any staff because no one can know who he is because of his nightlife. But they're going to the premiere of her movie. Now, I don't remember if this was the movie she was making in the last story. It might have been. I don't remember the title.
No, it is because Bruce is a producer on it, right? Because he put all that money.
Oh yeah, no, I knew that. But he could have produced another one after that. I just wasn't sure if it was the same one.
But I think it is because they made a point that they're doing the premiere in Gotham, and it hasn't been that much time, right? I think the first book is set in like 37, and this is 38. So 38, 39. So yeah, it's been a lot of time, but not that much time. So I took it as it's the same movie.
You're probably right. I just didn't remember the title. So the radio host who's been talking about everything is going to his car, and the executioner like shows up and grabs him. I love the coloring here with the green smoke and the purple kind of like nighttime sky coming from above. And then, just in case you were thinking, oh, they'll pull their punches with these murders. This is a mature rated book, by the way. There was F-bombs in here as well.
Yeah, a lot of F-bombs.
So basically, Scarecrow's now involved in the killings, right? So the executioner puts the radio host with his hands tied behind this flatbed truck, and Scarecrow reverses the truck into him to sever his bottom half from his top half. Super horror movie style stuff here. And of course that leads to Gordon getting a call, and Bruce like, okay, I promised Julie I'll be there, but I'll go out and do some investigating first. I'll go be Batman for a while. Great full page spread as he's walking to his outfit as well. Really nice stuff. So yeah, like the crime scene, the cops are looking at the bodies, Batman's above listening in. He goes to try and find, like, because basically the plot swerve here is that Gordon's not shown up to the crime scene. So Batman goes looking for where Gordon's went to, and Gordon's car's been crashed into the front of a shop. So it's like, oh shit, where's Gordon? The killer must have Gordon, because Gordon kind of fits the description of the victims. He's someone who's trying to make the city a better place. So
right.
The premiere's going on. There's paparazzi, all that stuff, lots of colors, and Scarecrow and the Executioner's big plan is to hang Gordon across the street from the premiere and shine a light on it so that everyone witnesses how because Scarecrow's whole thing is he wants to terrify the city. He wants the city to be so a big statement like this is the big thing. So this is where the searchlight comes into it, and Scarecrow threatens the guy with a knife and says, no, point it up there. And the Executioner throws Gordon over the side of the building, and people are looking up thinking, is this a publicity stunt for the movie? What is going on? Is that Commissioner Gordon? It looks like him. So yeah, it's a super dark scene where he's hanging from a noose, and Batman swoops in and like has to cut the rope, but Gordon's like fighting for his life the entire time. And that's that full page spread with the searchlights hitting them as Batman swooping in is a gorgeous page. Like there's no.
And I just love though too. There's a little bit of comedy to break this up a bit, because Bruce tells him keep your fingers between the rope and the neck, and Gordon was already doing that, and he goes, couldn't get him out if I wanted to, right? So like he's even quipping as they're going, which I feel like as we've just watched Gordon try to get them trying to hang Gordon, I felt that was much needed. So good on Jurgens for throwing that in there.
And notably, Lois is there at this event, and she's looking up and going, oh, he's real. The Batman exists. And to be fair, for a lot of the people there, it's like, this is proof. Because up until now, the papers have been saying, is he a myth? Is he real? And now he's just been in front of a light, in front of an entire crowd of people at this premiere. So then it gets like super dark, because the Executioner just picks up a Tommy gun and starts firing it down to the crowd. It gets super, super dark. Everyone runs, and Lois actually ends up helping Batman a little bit here by smashing the searchlight so that the Tommy gun guy can't see Batman coming. And yeah, sure enough, that Batman gets goes up for him after he helps Gordon out a little bit. So it's a super just fun thing, and it's the sort of thing where if you didn't already think this was Lois earlier on when she was introduced, her being proactive and doing something to help the hero was like, okay, she's kind of smart too. This feels like Lois Lane.
Well, and the fact she goes, I can't interview a dead man, right? So she's like, so that spotlight needs to go, and she hucks a brick, you know. So
That's
again,
true.
very
That's
proactive. True. So again, I was just like, God, this is Lois. Like, if it's not, what are you doing, Jurgens?
Yeah.
You know.
So Lois actually like picks up Julie because Julie runs out of because obviously they're evacuating everything now, and Lois pulls up in a car and says, "Hey, you know, get in." Blah blah blah. So Batman gets up to the roof and is fighting the Executioner, who's holding a giant axe. So that's fun. And then, as Lois and Julie are getting into her car, Scarecrow has slyly thrown in a little pellet of his fear gas. So the coloring here is great because all the stuff with the Julie and Lois panels are all green. All the stuff with Batman and Executioner are all purple. Everything's popping really nice because of that. But yeah, but Julie's like, hey, who are you? How do you know all this stuff? Because Lois is like, hey, that's got your boyfriend's place. That mansion's out of the way. And she's like, how do you know that? And she's like, I'm a reporter. And then that's when she finally says, you know, I work with the Daily Star. I'm Lois Lane. Now, for people who don't know why it's the Daily Star, that's because when Superman started, when Action Comics started, it was the Daily Star. The Daily Planet was a later creation. So her working at the Daily Star is a callback to the golden age of Superman, which fits this time period.
I believe, and I might be wrong, so fact check me, listeners, viewers. I believe the Daily Planet was one of the radio show editions.
It probably is. Like, honestly, that radio show introduced like half of the mythos, to be honest. Like, I mean, whenever you hear what that show introduced, it was like half the things we think of with Superman.
Yeah. So yeah, and they have worked it into continuity before that, like before Clark had worked for the Daily Planet. One of his first jobs was for the Daily Stars. That's always like a sly,
they do a little thing,
piece there. But yeah, here's something from Metropolis, the Daily Star. My name is Lois Lane, and I'm not gonna lie, I gave an actual fist pump. It's
always a bit weird when they bring up Daily Star though, because it's an actual newspaper in the UK, so it feels a bit strange.
Is it?
Yeah, and it's not a good newspaper either. It's like a tabloid.
Gotcha. A tabloid.
So it's just weird to think of Lois Lane working for a prestigious newspaper called the Daily Star.
Yeah, well, that would be like her working for the World News, like with the Weekly World News, which is the big tabloid here. You know, same kind of vibe. But yeah, no, this Executioner dude, he gives Batman a run for his money while this is all going on.
Oh yeah,
too. So I also like seeing this version.
He stabs him. He stabs him in the side with a knife.
Yep, as he calls it was an Alabama toothpick, which is just a knife to the gut. So, but yeah, this version of Batman is very, very human still, right?
Yeah.
He's the dude that is just dressing up, and he doesn't have much of the gadgets. He's just all grit and theatricality. There you go. And
then the two ladies in the car start yelling at each other and like losing their shit because the fear gas is kicking in. So they're getting more and more agitated and wild. And the cliffhanger is that they drive off the road, and it's like off the side of a cliff. So that's the cliffhanger, is the car going all over the edge. So I mean, if you're right and Superman is going to show up, it wouldn't be impossible to think he might catch the car at the start of next issue. But I could also see it being a thing where he's not around yet. Like he's going to, if Batman's new and people thought he was a myth, then I can see Superman, like his first appearance, and assuming this world keeps going, they keep doing more minis and whatever they're going to do. But interesting all the same.
I will understand whatever direction they go with, but after the Lois reveal, after some of the other stuff, the themes of Batman not being able to do this alone, if Superman does show up in some form, and let's say it's not even the flying Superman, it's the old, leaps tall buildings and single bound.
It wouldn't be surprising if that's the version that they have.
Yeah. And he jumps, because he's been tailing Lois, right? 'Cause she gets into trouble.
Yeah, I mean, given the design of Batman, given the Daily Star mentioned, it would make sense that he can just leap and he's strong, but he doesn't have all the other powers yet or ever. Right. So that makes sense.
But yeah, a lot of good fun. Like, I was excited for this book, and then as it kept going with the Executioner, Scarecrow, the continuation of the plots from the first one, not the plots, but characters and whatnot. I was like, oh man, let's If this is all Jurgen does at DC for the rest of his time there, I'm okay with that. You know, this is very
great,
solid.
Yeah. I was super into this. The atmosphere is so thick, partly because of the art, because Perkins is so good at doing the atmosphere stuff. Everything's moody, but there's good facials and all that, and the characters. I think the story's fun. The executioners are really fun. Like, they're having this serial killer who's brutally murdering people, is nice and dark, and it feels like something that needs to be stopped. But you've got, the funny thing is that the first series built up a decent supporting cast between Gordon, Julie, and the rabbi, and having them back and having all this be established already, it let this just kind of hit the ground. I mean, it reminded us they're there, but it hit the ground running a lot quicker, I think, because it didn't have to introduce them all from scratch. So that was really nice. Good stuff. So no, I mean, I think it's gorgeous. It reads well, and it does feel like a full meal getting a nice big 50-page. As long as it's good, 50 pages feels great to read because you get a lot of material out of it. And I'm almost like wondering, like, would I like it if there was half as many books but they were all this length? There'd be
some weeks, yes. Some weeks, yes.
Pros and
weeks,
cons.
not so much.
Yeah, pros and cons to it, obviously, but it felt like there was a good amount of stuff in here. But I assume this is going to be every other month because of the size of it.
Yeah.
So that's
That's how it was last time too.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. But yeah, assuming this is going to be 3 issues like the first one was, but I mean, I won't be mad if it ends up being a bit longer. But no. I was delighted because I mean, I really liked that first book, but I feel like this arguably might even be a stronger start than the first issue of the last one. So, good stuff. What are you giving the Batman Second Night issue 1?
I'm giving this a 9.5.
Whoa! It's at least a 9. Like, it's definitely in that amazing kind of category. I love reading this.
And I'll play into parody and be like, the appearance of Lois Lane gives it 0.5.
Of course it did.
Yes.
Of course it did. It's a sort of thing where they kept it as a reveal for later. And that said, though, I don't think they thought that no one was going to be thinking it already. Like, I think as soon as she shows up as a reporter, we're all going, okay, who's this brunette reporter? I wonder who it could be.
And again, it's because she's one of my favorite characters, right? Like, it's Superman, Lois, and then right behind us, probably Nightwing and Wally West, around that area. I saw the purple eyes and I was like, that's Lois. Don't tell me that's not Lois. So, but them, I don't want to say stringing us along, as that sounds bad, but them taking us along for the ride and letting it go, it still was a fulfilling surprise. So just again, if Jurgens is going to keep working on these, golden age set, 40s books, I'm like, he's very good at them, I will say. So yeah.
But it's weird though that you started there with your second favorite character and worked down, because your number 1, of course, is Batman, because it's Batman Day, right?
I could come through that screen right now.
You read so many Batman books this week. You must love Batman.
I did, and I hate that they're so good.
It cracks me up. All right. Okay, every month at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV, you can maybe read a book at one of the higher tiers. A Patreon book that we're both reading today is Green Arrow issue 19. So this is the current run, but this is like maybe about a year old, this issue. So last issue, this was very good, issue 18, we were both very positive on. And this issue kind of takes this a little bit further and develops this relationship with Oliver and this new cop lady character, Benny, or I think it's Benitez, or I think it's her actual name, but Benny was the nickname. That said, though, there's a little bit more of what the potential like motive is for this at the start, which is this kid who's making sandwiches. There's like a cartoon in the background, and the kid kind of drops down after he's had a bite of his food, or maybe after he's well, they even had the bite, actually, because I mean that's the thing, we're mostly talking about water here and like what's in the drinking supply.
So, and I was gonna say, this is probably the kid from the opening of the last one. That was
I would assume so. Yeah, I mean, I didn't go back and check to see if the kids look similar, but I'm just assuming it's the same kid. But yeah, basically things get woozy and the art kind of reflects that. And he collapses, and then the mum comes home and finds him lying there and starts panicking, yelling for help. So yeah, super like sort of grim opening. But then we're with Oliver and the detective lady, and they're talking about what's going on. and the fact that she has a dog called Arrow, which he gets kind of like, oh, you named him after me? And she's like, no, he actually came with that name. But, so,
Yep.
Yeah, there's kind of a fun thing here of like, does Oliver have an ego kind of thing? They go to the crime scene because at the end of the last issue revealed that this other major player was killed.
The senator.
The senator. That's what I couldn't remember what his position was. But they're on the way to the crime scene, and we get a lot of classic stuff that we usually see with Batman, which is this idea that the local police are like, wait, you're letting him in with you? Like, this is a crime scene, don't let him in. So there's a bit of resistance at the crime scene at the mansion as they're going in. Of course, Oliver's reaction to all this is a bit different to Batman, where he's like, he's cracking quips and one-liners and almost agitating them a little bit,
Whereas Bruce would just ignore it and keep walking.
Maybe scowl a little bit.
Oliver's like me and can't let a sentence go, because like when he just calls him a vigilante, and Oliver's just like, yeah, I was invited to be somewhere else, but you folks keep letting people get killed, right? So he's really just gotta dig it in, and
he's like two comments away from someone saying, you let a illegal mass vigilante in here, for Oliver just turning around and going, yeah, well, I bet you've got a small dick. Just walking away. Like, that's the attitude that he's bringing to this.
Absolutely. And I just love it. And he's wearing a face cover over his face, right? That's kind of new when it comes to Arrow. We're not quite used to seeing that. So it gives him more of this kind of, why should they trust him, right? He's literally a mass vigilante. So I also understand where the crime scene guys are coming from, but he is the Green Arrow. He's a public superhero. So
and Montos is on art, of course. The art is very good. I will say though that just by the nature of what the story is in this issue, is it doesn't let Montos shine quite as much for like the first half of the issue, because the last issue, there was all that stuff at the top of the rooftops, and then all that like searching the crime scene in the dark quietly. There was a lot of like art showcase pages. Here, there's a lot more dialogue, there's a lot more setting up plot, so it's not as art heavy or art focused, maybe is a better way of putting it. But they go meet the tech guy who's looking at the security footage, and he's freaking out that he's working with Green Arrow, and they're looking for the killer, right? And they see someone enter the building on the camera, right? No way to ID them, they've got a mask and stuff on. But they also can't figure out when they left, because there's no footage of them leaving. And there's kind of like, oh, what if he's still in the house? Like, that's kind of the thing they get to. But by this point, Benny has left to go and walk her dog, because the dog was barking. So the big sort of like horror movie style suspense here is that as Green Arrow and the tech guy are watching the cameras, they actually see the killer sneaking up behind her as she's walking the dog. And it's like, oh shit. So this is where the art gets to take off a little bit, because things go quiet and Oliver has to run through the mansion at top speed to try and get to the front entrance, to get to the stairs and maybe fire off a shot to help her. And he actually is kind of late. The only reason why she doesn't get killed, because the killer's about to swing something at her, is actually because her dog like kind of like senses it and like jumps up and like bites him. And then Oliver takes a shot and gets the killer in the leg, I think. Just like this is like it was almost like the first half of the book was like, other than the little opening with the kid, it was all dialogue heavy, and it was fun. It was like, good stuff where Oliver's got an ego and he's interacting with people. We're building up this relationship with a detective lady. That stuff's all good. But then you get to this point where it's like, oh, he's still in the house. And then from that point on, oh, the art's going full drive now. Now the art's like it's all action now, and it's suspenseful, because because I was actually a little bit worried. Like, oh, please don't tell me we set her up just to kill her off like in issue 2, because I actually kind of like her character.
Yeah, and it is very, like you said, it's like a slasher movie where we're watching the killer sneak up on her from the security footage, and then just the way that we never get a full, like a good view of the killer, right up until they get shot in the leg by Oliver. So just the way that that's paced out through the storytelling and through Montos's art, it builds that suspense, which is very naturally, because there's very little talking from that point. I mean, he's trying to line up the shot, right? And and then he's calling for help from the police. So there's that kind of stuff, but it's all very told in the visuals.
Yeah, and I really like the layout in that page, actually, because it does that thing where the panels are getting smaller as he's taking aim. So it's like he's getting more and more focused, so there's more and more gutter space, right? It feels like it's zooming in a sense.
Yeah.
As he's about to release the bow. So no, I mean, it's good stuff. The killer gets it in the leg. Good silhouette panel of getting like the sort of the ballpoint arrow hits them in the face, and then Oliver goes down, helps her up, and they pull the mask off the killer, and it seems to be a sick woman. It seems to be a woman who's got cancer based on the bald head. That would be the assumption. And it immediately made me think, well, is it always the same killer? Because it kind of feels like, based on this ending, I was thinking, oh wait, is each murder perpetrated by a different person who's sick because of what's happened with the water supply? These are all people who are victims of what happened, so they've all formed a pact, or someone's maybe there's a ringleader who's like encouraging them all to do this. But this doesn't seem like someone who's going to go around killing bunches of lots of people. That said, though, it does beg the question: why was she going after the detective? Like, why her?
Oh. So maybe just happenstance. The detective's there trying to make you get away.
Maybe
it's just an obstacle, right? Because it doesn't feel like it's part of the freshwater killings.
But why wait around then? Why not just leave? Because she's specifically waited in the mansion.
Yeah, I don't know. My thing, maybe if she is that sick, she had after killing the senator,
she had to rest. She had to lie down for a minute. Maybe. I mean, she looks sick. She's very gaunt. It's not just the bald head. Yeah.
Though the way that Montos draws her, she looks very gaunt as well.
And she also says, "Please, I'm so sorry." She says, "I'm sorry." That's the last thing she sort of murmurs out as the book's ending. Yeah. And I feel like, so I'm still kind of sticking to my theory that maybe different sick people who have been affected by this are going after the perpetrators. So each murder's a different person technically. But her going after the detective and staying around in the house like a horror movie villain does feel like it's a little bit against that. So I don't really know how to put those two things together, but maybe we'll get some answers next issue. But no, I mean, look at it this way. I actually cared if this character was going to die. I was like, oh, please don't kill her off. The fact that you've got me thinking that in issue 2 of your run for a new character is good stuff. It means I care already. You made me care about a character.
For sure. I mean, she compliments Oliver really well, right? They have some pretty witty dialogue back and forth. So between the two issues, Condon worked really quick to ingratiate her to us. So that's some solid storytelling. And now you introduced a dog too, which you hooked me, right? I want to keep that dog safe at all costs. So, but yeah.
Yeah, no, good stuff on that front. Art is, again, gorgeous throughout, but really the back half's where it gets to sing and gets to do all the fancy stuff with, just a slightly more in-depth layouts, slightly more kind of like just focus on it because of the tensions being quite high. And a lot of the stuff with the killer in this gas mask with the red coat or the pink coat just really pops against the dark shadows in those panels. So.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's just a coincidence. I don't know if it's the same colorist that did War Journal, but the green complemented with this purple, right? Again, like it's a different shade of purple this time around, but there's just something with Montos' art. Maybe it's the shadows where the green and that purple really work well together. Because that page where the killer goes to hit Benitez and everything has the dog's barking. It's all in purple. And it's like purples and oranges with the blue. It's just all that coloring just makes the entire page sing. Yeah.
And I think it's also very well paced. Like I think you get the opening little like sort of flashback style scene, but then after that, it feels like it follows on from where issue 1 was. It continues a natural pace and builds up to like an exciting element, which is the killer's still here. So when someone's in danger, we have to deal with that. I appreciate a tightly paced story where it doesn't feel like we're just jumping around. Like, and there's not anything wrong with that when it's done well, because you may have a good reason to jump around. But I think I like how kind of just like one scene's affecting the next, like constantly here in a way that's, I think, satisfying to get through. So, it's another good issue. I don't know if I like it more than the last issue. Maybe the last issue having a bit more time to showcase the art just made me like that a bit more, but like not by much. Like this is still a very good follow-up.
It's still compared to the Green Arrow we were getting right before here, which is very messy type stuff. I like the fact that just through 2 issues, it is very focused, and it has a sense of who these characters are and the dynamics between Oliver and the police and all this other type of stuff. Like it has an identity already through 2 issues, which is, it really speaks well for the creative team.
Absolutely. So no, good stuff. What are you giving Green Arrow 19?
I'm going to give this an 8.5.
Yeah, I think I'm inclined to agree with that score. Higher than an 8, but I won't quite call it amazing. I'll say it's great.
Yeah.
So, cool. That'll take us out of the final part of the show. We pick our favorite stuff for the week, favorite panel / moment, favorite cover, favorite art, all that stuff. So, Matt, what is your panel / moment of the week?
So this week had a lot of good choices. In Batman and Robin Year One, you had that realization from Batman that these guys turning to dust is killing them, and now he can't go after them like a wrecking ball. I thought that was super strong. And there's the Lois Lane reveal in Batman Second Night. I thought that was handled like, yes, we knew it was coming, but it was still handled extremely well. But mine's gonna be from Nightwing, and it's gonna be when Martian Manhunter turns around and goes, "I thought I saw something," because that was such a that is good. We're getting so close. So as much as I wanted to give it to Lois, I gotta give it to Jean.
Yeah, that Jean moment is very good. I'm almost tempted to say the moment later on that connects back to it, which is the Samnee and Dick's eye.
In the eye?
Yeah, that's a good moment. I do love the Clayface, like the sort of like, oh shit, these things will die instantly if I even punch them. I do like that moment a lot. I also think there's a ton of moments in Second Night that I could be picking. I'm almost tempted to say just that first kill of like the bell, because it's just so dark and grisly and the art's gorgeous. I'm going to say but the Samnee in the eye is very close. Yeah.
Dude really got his bell rung. Like, it's hooey.
How long have you been waiting to say that, Matt?
The whole time.
I suspected as much. For cover of the week, there's a couple of good ones. Of course, I won't linger this on too much though. Obviously, all the main covers for the first night were great. Second night seems to be continuing that with the gorgeous inside the Batman silhouette with all the different characters. Looks gorgeous. Even some of the variants for that look pretty stunning as well, it has to be said. I'm not familiar with Mark Aspinall as an artist, but his variant for Batman Second Night is pretty stunning. With Batman kind of hugging Julie, and they're in kind of like this everything's super ultra blue, really low, desaturated kind of thing. That said though, the ones that I really want to, or what I want to pick and shout out is the variant for Nightwing, which is the Gabriel Dell'Otto variant, which is just Nightwing sort of like wiping some blood from his mouth, but it's just that gorgeous painted style of cover that I really like. There's a Faria cover as well, but to be honest, as far as Faria covers go, not my favorite.
Yeah, that one's not as
And I've been loving Faria, because he's been doing Jason Aaron's Turtles, and that's been a great book. I've been loving that book.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's almost finishing. That well, his run's almost finishing. The Jin Ling Yang's taking over in a couple of issues time. So what are you picking for cover of the week?
Yeah, so I have there's a New Gods variant from, who is this from? Yasmin Putri. And it's got all the bad guys. We got the Niktari guy. Seraphin's there with the, hand over his head. You got Max Lord, granting goodness to Sod. And just this really cool looking kind of painted cover. And then Batman and Robin Year One they're at a, it looks like the old theme park, that Joker uses as a base. I forget, was it the Miracle Mile? I might be confusing that with something else, but it's got Batman and Robin on there. That's the Chris Sprouse variant, and just the way they're just playing with the lighting, it looks like it's at either dawn or dusk, and the harsh light's coming over them. It looks good, but my pick's gonna be from Nightwing, and there's a Fornes cover. It's this very kind of minimalist. It's got a blue background, and the Nightwing title is like stretched out, almost like buildings, and Dick's running across them, his shadows behind them. It's very cool and stylish. So
Cool.
That's my pick.
All right, what are you picking for art of the week?
Okay, this is tough because Dexter Soy is so good. Flash this month, Travis Moore, very, very, very well handled. But it really comes down to Samnee or Mike Perkins.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm willing to give it to Perkins this time around. It is every other month. We have one more to give it to Samnee, right? Next time. So I gotta give it to Perkins just by a hair. Samnee's fantastic. I love it. But man, the mood, just the way everything's designed, the colors, the art is singing in Second Night.
Yeah, I got it with Perkins as well. Samnee is a close second, of course. Of course, he is. And Dexter Soy is obviously great, but it's Perkins. I was blown away. Yeah. 50 pages of awesomeness. It's hard to be mad at it. Mm-hmm. All right, top 5 books.
All right, so number 1 is gonna be the Batman Second Night. Number 2 is Batman and Robin Year 1. 3 is Nightwing. 4 is New Gods, and 5 is. Can't remember if I'll go Absolute Flash.
Probably a very similar list because my number 1 is the Batman Second Night. Number 2 is I'll say Batman and Robin Year 1, and then number 3 Nightwing, and then number 4 we'll go with Absolute Flash, and then number 5 we'll go New Gods for number 5. It's just
okay.
Yeah, I think New Gods is still better than Justice League Red this week.
Yeah,
but just by a smidge. Normally it'd be a much bigger gap. And then World's Finest obviously is not getting anywhere close to that top 5 spot. So cool. That's that. Which means I can tell you what's coming next week from DC Comics, everyone. So next week has the following: Absolute Wonder Woman issue 12, Detective Comics 1101. Those 4-digit numbers are getting a bit of a mouthful. Superman 30, Justice League Unlimited issue 11, Wonder Woman 25, Green Lantern 27, Green Arrow 28. Obviously, we won't be doing that next week, but we'll eventually get to it. We have New History of the DC Universe issue 3, The Flash issue 25. God, I hate that new outfit that you still got. Immortal Legend Batman issue 2, Superman Unlimited issue 5, Catwoman 79, Harley Quinn 54, Mr. Terrific Year 1 issue 5, DC vs. Vampires World War V issue 12, and then there's facsimiles and reprints and whatnot. So it's a heavy week overall for DC next week. I don't think it's super heavy for us specifically because there's a few in there we don't do, but it's definitely a big publishing week for them. There's a lot going on. So yeah, lots of interesting stuff. I'll have a couple of Patreon books as well next week, so that's cool. Also worth mentioning before we go, the second issue of Batgirl Year 1 will be up. If it's not already up already by the time this goes out on Patreon, it'll be up within the next day or two. So the second one of those. So yeah, you can support us on Patreon. Patreon.com/MailFuzzTV, or via YouTube membership is also an option to get access to these reviews. But you get access to a monthly exclusive review of a comic book. Right now it's Batgirl Year 1, issue 2, been the new one. And you also get to vote once a month on what the Patreon pick issue is. So this month it was Core issue 1 that won that. And the vote is already up for next month's selection. The votes are Batgirl issue 2, Cassandra Cain. That'll keep coming back regardless. Core issue 2 is there in case you really want us to read the next one of those. And also the third option is Gotham City Academy Year 1, or first year, whatever it's called, but issue 1 of that because that's out next month. So those are the options up in Patreon right now if you want to go vote on them. If you haven't voted and you're a patron or a YouTube member, please do remember to go do so. You've got until the end of the month to cast a vote on that. But yeah, so you can go support us, you get the show a little bit early as well, plus you get bonuses. If you're on Patreon, you get bonuses for all the YouTube movie stuff. We're doing 70s thrillers right now in Collector's Cut. We just did an interesting Gene Hackman movie called Night Moves Had a good conversation about that. So there's stuff going on. Also, on Patreon, we have an exclusive show that me and David do once a month called Extra Reels, where we review some of the worst movies ever made. The new episode just went out for a movie called Love on a Leash. It is one of the funniest bad movies I have seen in quite some time. The movie's free on YouTube if you want to go watch it. And hilarity might ensue. Anyway,
Love on a Leash.
There's all the plugging out of the way. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Thanks to everyone who supports us. We'll see you next time for more DC Comics shenanigans. But that is us. So thank you once again. Keep reading DC Comics. And remember to never get lost in the Speed Force.